Channel. I think I'm live. Peace, peace, peace. Love, harmony, and light. All right. I think we live. We live. I know it's been a minute. But we here. All right. We got a beautiful build this evening. If you guys could do me a favor, share the link on your, your different social media platforms, because this information, like, everything else is great information, that the people need to definitely give them a better understanding of what they're dealing with and what situation they're in. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys some time to log into this live feed. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. First, let me just give thanks, to the Great Spirit. Give thanks to the all, give thanks to the ancestors. Give thanks to my guardian angels, my angels of light, my spiritual parents. Giving thanks to my physical parents that are here right now, and all. Thank you for tuning in, and peace to the gods. All right, we have a lot of work to do, man. A lot of work to do. I'm just trying to see if I could get this on my phone so I could see exactly what you guys will be seeing, just to make sure everything is good. There we go. Let me take the volume all the way down so I don't get that feedback. And we about to get into this. All right. All right, beautiful. So we good. All right, brothers and sisters, as you could see, the title of the video, all right, a lesson for Saneter-Young, Pharaoh-Boyce, Watkins, and pretty much everybody who calls themselves Black or African American. Now, disclaimer. Okay, let me just make my disclaimer real quick. This video, the people names that I mentioned in the video, by no means this is an attack. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I put that out there, because you know how low vibrational people are. Oh, well, Saneter, man, this dude Chief Kalanago talking about you. Oh, young Pharaoh. Nah, it ain't nothing like that. Okay, the reason why I put their names in the title is very, very simple. All right, they have a huge platform, and on their platform, they are always referring to people, our people, as African Americans and Black people. Now, I'm not going to assume and presume they know the truth. You see, I always tell people assumptions is the mother of all you know what. You feel me? So I'm not going to assume. So with that being said, I want to make sure that I address them, let them know, hey, brothers, if you don't know the truth, then I'm doing a video to tell you the truth. So now you could research the information. All right. And I'm giving you the facts as to everything that I'm stating in this video. So now you could never say that you didn't know. So if you continue to call the people Black and African American, then the people will know for themselves what your intentions are. So that is the whole intention of putting their names, okay, BET, all that, in the title. Because I'm not going to assume people don't know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. So with that being said, once they get the information, now what's your excuse to continue to call our people Black when you know the truth? So that is the purpose. I just wanted to get that out there. Peace and love to each and every one of y'all. Just for the record, I'm not a Moor. All right. So anybody else who are Moors on there, peace and love to y'all. But me personally, I'm not a Moor. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Okay. All right. So, brothers and sisters, man, once again, our people, we are at a beautiful time in our existence. Like I tell people all the time, it's a beautiful time to be alive. Why? Because we are going to see so many different changes. And I tell people there is no such thing as good and bad. All right. It is just experiences, and they're either deemed good or bad, but it's a lesson to learn. All right. So we are going to learn a lot of lessons, and some of it is going to be painful to some people who are not ready to receive the information. It's going to be painful for some people who know the truth but don't want to step into the truth. It's going to be painful for a lot of people okay, who know who they are, but continue to be dead in law. Now that's on you. And that's the beauty about free will. You see, free will is such a beautiful thing. I tell people, and that is just my opinion based on how I perceive the truth. There is no sky daddy looking down, with a big beard and judging you. Well, he did this and she did that, and I'm gonna send him to hell. No, that is all man-made. Okay, that is all man-made. You see, the universe is so beautiful, and everything was done and created so perfectly that you are the judge of your own hell or heaven. What do I mean by that? It means that you have free will to either be righteous or not be righteous. You have free will to be good or what they call evil. That is your choice. And based on your choices, then you will reap what you sow. In other words, cause and effect. That has always been one of the universal laws. And man interpreted that and injected that into religion. And they start telling you about, well, if you sin and you do this and you do that, you're going to hell. No, hell and heaven is within. All right. And you are responsible for your own heaven or hell based on your intentions, based on your motives, based on your character, based on your heart. All right. So, and that is the truth. That is the truth. And because I tell people, when you look into nature, nature was the first teacher. I have never seen an animal with a book, but yet still animals have a lot of sense. So it begs the question as to why do we allow men to mislead us? So it's a matter of choice. All right. So with that being said, you said, what is evil? Well, evil is the opposite of good. You know what I mean? It's just, again, they're just experiences, family. They're just experiences. And some of it is deemed bad, some of it is deemed good, but it's just an experience. And the key is to learn the lesson. That's it. It's that simple. So we're gonna get into the detriments. Okay, we're gonna get into the detriments of calling oneself Black or African American in the Americas. That's what we're gonna get into today. And what I have done is, oh man, I forgot to put it in the link below, but I'm gonna put the lesson in the link below. It took me about 5 days. Okay, 5 days to put that information together, research the information, okay, get all the facts, and I put it in one lesson. So I'm gonna put it in the link below. So now you're able to not just have the video, but have the PDF of that information and research and go over it. Okay, teach your children, teach your family. And I got to give credit to what's his name? I think it's Chief Nanya. He did a video pretty much going over the same thing, and he went over it in detail. But I took that information and I went a little more deeper and got some more information. So I just would like to give credit where credit is due. All right, the information is regurgitated information, but I thought it was absolutely necessary to bring it to my platform so that our people could grow and teach each other. All right, so let us get into this. Let us get into that. So I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to go to our nation's website, because that's where I have the link. Okay, I have it on the nation's website and you could always go check it out. All right, let me where are we here? Let me open up a new window and go to the nation website. Hope you guys are seeing this, because we about to make this thing happen. All right. Somebody asked, what's my nationality? I'm an American Aboriginal. But we could get a little more technical, and I could say I'm Ani Onwia, I'm Arawak, I'm Kalinago, because all those people are part of my ancestry. I mean, that's the line of people that I came from. So, man, I'm literally everybody, man. I'm everything. I am that I am, period. You know what I mean? All right, so here we are. So what you're gonna do is I will put that in the link below. Okay, so You go to the website and you're going to go to the university section. And from the university section, you will see on the very top, I put it all the way to the top right here. A lesson for African Americans / Black. All you have to do is click on the link and the PDF will come up. Okay. All righty, here we go. Click on that link and let's get into this. Okay, I hope you guys could see this. I'm going to make it a little bigger. I know I made some of the links clickable. There we go. All right. So like I said, man, it took me 5 days to put this together. So I hope you guys appreciate this. By the way, don't forget the super chat if you want to support support the lecture, the work that was put into this. By all means, feel free to to give your support. All right. Let us make this as broad as possible. Let me see if I could zoom that as much as I can, so that it will be big enough. All right, there we go. I hope you guys could see this. Is everybody good? Everybody good? Can everybody see the screen? And once again, brothers and sisters, I am not doing this video to call anybody out. Okay, I'm not calling out Saneter. I'm not calling out Boyce Watkins. I'm not calling out young Pharaoh. I'm just bringing their attention to the video so that if they don't know the damage and the harm that they're causing to the original people of this land, then I want to bring it to their attention. So now they could say, you know what, man, what's my excuse? So now people could hold them accountable because now they know the truth. So please make sure that young Pharaoh get this video and make sure that Saneter get this video. And if they continue to call the people Black or African American, then you decide what you need to decide. Okay, I will reserve my my comments, for a later time. All right. So here we go. And once again, if anybody's on here again calling over people Black, I'm gonna have to delete you. I'm gonna have to block you. Okay, because like I said, I'm not here to deal with the BS. You know what I'm saying? Black is dead in law. And when you call my people Black, you're making them dead. So if you're going to continue to do that, that means you come into the channel to disrespect. So I'm going to block you. Real talk. Because I'm not the one to play the games. This is very serious to me. Okay? My ancestors have been murdered, raped, pillaged, massive genocide. The Holocaust of the so-called American Indians is real. And my ancestors didn't call themselves Black. They were forced to be called that. So if you're going to come on the chat, please do me a favor. Do not push that Black narrative on this channel. All right? I respect your opinion, but take it somewhere else. You feel me? And no disrespect. I'm just keeping it real. All right? So here we go. African American / Black people are slaves. And that's a fact. So everything that's in this message this evening, in this lecture, that you could verify that for yourself. Okay? You could go do the research and prove me wrong. Everything that I say, I want you to prove me wrong. All right? So here we go. So we're going to start from the very beginning. Slave. What's a slave? The definition of a slave. And this definition is from the Black's Law Dictionary, the 2nd edition. All right? Now, here we are. Black's Law Dictionary. A lot of people are under the impression that the Black's Law Dictionary was named after a man. No, the Black's Law Dictionary wasn't named after a man named Black. No, that dictionary was put together for so-called Black people because certain laws had to be put in place to respect the rights of so-called Black people. So Black's Law Dictionary was put together for so-called Black people to go to look at meaning of legal words or legal definitions, so they are able to articulate themselves in the legal system or in law, so to speak. So for those of you who didn't know that, Black's law wasn't a man. Okay? All right. Slave. Definition. A person who is wholly subject to the will of another. So you hear that so far? Definition of a slave: a person who is wholly subject to the will of another, one who has no freedom of action, but whose person and services are wholly under the control of another. Webster: one who is under the power of a master and who belongs to him, so that the master may sell and dispose of his person, of his industry, and of his labor, without his being able to do anything, have anything, or acquire anything, but what must belong to his master. Civic, that's civic law, all right, code law, Art 35, Black's Law Dictionary, 2nd edition. So I'm going to prove to you the true essence of the definition of slavery and how it applies to so-called Black people and African Americans. And you will see exactly what I'm talking about. They fit into the criteria of what a slave is. You feel me? Okay. 13th Amendment. Now that you know the definition of slavery, we're going to get into the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was put in place because at that time, now I've already done videos showing you that we are the Aboriginal people. I've already done videos letting you know that we are the so-called Indians. But once a lot of us came, or we started coming out of the status of being called Indians, we wanted to integrate into the colonizer system. So certain laws and certain amendments and certain acts had to put in place to protect those people. So one of the things that was put in place was the 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment, there were two 13th Amendments, all right, but we'll get into that a little later. But the one that they had, the one that was ratified, it is the 13th Amendment, and it says it was passed by Congress on January 31st, 1865, and was ratified on December 6, 1865. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States and provides that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now we have to break that down. Okay, let us dissect this 13th Amendment here. It says, passed by Congress on January 31st, 1865, and ratified on December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in the United States. Now, when it said it abolished slavery, what they were saying is that it abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. So they made it illegal for slavery to exist or involuntary servitude. But there's a provision. It says, except as a punishment for a crime. So in essence, they're saying we are going to abolish slavery or involuntary servitude. But if we deem something is a crime, then we could still and you are convicted, then we could still put you in slavery. So with that being said, all they had to say, well, hey, man, listen, you committed a crime, and then they could pull you right back into slavery. So you see, everything with these colonizers is always a catch-22. Now, let us look. A lot of times people may not have the true legal definition of what a crime is. Because you see, what they told you crimes are, those are not crimes. But let us look at what crime mean in the legal essence of what it truly means. What is a crime? A crime is an act committed or omitted in violation of public law, either forbidding or commanding it, a breach or violation of some public right or duty to a whole community, considered as a community. Now you see what a crime is? So literally, guess who the criminals are? I'm going to read that again. Black's Law, 2nd edition, definition of a crime. A crime is an act committed or omitted in violation of a public law, either forbidding or commanding it, a breach of violation of public right or duty to due to a whole community considered as a community. So what am I saying? The true criminals are who? Yes, that's right. The people in government. Because if you look at the true definition of what a crime is, it is a violation of public law. Typical example. Public law is this. We have a right to travel, but they have taken that right away from us and want to license, they want to license that right and make it a privilege. That is a crime. That is a breach or a violation of a public right. And that is a duty to a whole community or considered as a community, which is the people. So they are the ones committing the crimes. So you have to know, remember, brothers and sisters, English, the language. When you're speaking regular English or slang, legalese sound like English, but it's a complete different language. In its social aggregate capacity as distinguished from civil injury. And that is Black's Law, once again, second edition. So now you see what a true crime is. Okay? What is duly? Because in the amendment, we did run across the word duly. Duly, in due or proper form or manner, according to a legal requirements, regularly upon a proper foundation, as distinguished from mere form. And they're given some case laws. So when they say that they could make you a slave if you commit a crime and you are duly convicted, it means that on a proper form or manner, according to legal requirements, then they could make you a slave again. All right. So typical example, everybody who goes to jail, they are slaves because they were convicted of so-called crimes. So now they are enslaved. Legally, they have a right to enslave them. Now, I'm not saying it's morally right, but legally, they're saying they have a right to enslave people who have been convicted of a crime. But now, if you look at the definition of crime, you'll realize that they are the true criminals and not the people. All right? The 14th Amendment. So the 13th Amendment supposedly abolished slavery and involuntary servitude. But what they did was they turned around and tricked the people and created the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment says, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. That is the definition of a citizen of the United States. Now, let me put that in perspective for you guys. Okay? The 14th Amendment. All persons born. So if you are born or naturalized in the United States, but first you have to be subject. So you have to be born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction thereof to be considered a citizen of the United States or the state wherein. So if you are born in the United States or you are naturalized, but you are not subject to their jurisdiction, then you cannot be considered a citizen of the United States. So you have to truly understand the language that they are speaking. The 14th Amendment is a very important amendment that defines what it means to be a U.S. citizen and protects certain rights of the people. So essentially, the 14th Amendment took the 13th Amendment and brought people back into what's called voluntary slavery. So they're telling you, hey, you know what, man? Yes, the 13th Amendment came, we abolished slavery, involuntary servitude, but if you want to be a citizen of the United States, guess what? You have to, you have to be subject to our jurisdiction. They put you right back into slavery. And people didn't understand the language because they couldn't speak legalese. So what did our ancestors do? They wanted to be citizens of the United States, and they became subject of the United States in their jurisdiction, and they put them right back into slavery. I hope this is making sense thus far. What is naturalized? naturalized, to confer citizenship upon an alien. Now, you may think that when they speak of aliens, they are speaking of people that's outside of the Americas, so to speak. That's not true. All right. An alien is anybody who's foreign to any society. So the United States itself, the United States Corporation, is an entity by itself. So therefore, anybody who doesn't consider themselves a United States citizen is alien to the United States. So for me, I am an alien. Why? Because I am not a United States citizen. What does that mean? I do not wish to be a United States citizen because the United States is a corporation. So therefore, I am not a citizen of the corporation. I'm not an incorporated citizen of the United States. So therefore, I am an alien to the United States. So for those of you who want to be citizens of the United States, that's on you. But just know that you are not real. You are property. You are ward of the state. You are a corporation, because the United States is a corporation, and I'm going to prove that in this lesson tonight. So be very mindful when these people talk. They speak from a folk tongue perspective. Whenever they say something, they mean 10 different things. So what is naturalized? To confer citizenship upon an alien, to make a foreigner the same. Once again, I am a foreigner when it comes to the United States because I am not a corporate entity. So I am a foreigner, and I'm proud to be. All right. In the respect to the rights and privileges as if he were a native citizen or a subject. So they're very slick. And that's how they were able to pull a lot of people to become citizens. In other words, give up their natural rights, so to speak, and become subjects of a corporation that they think was a country. All right. Now, the next one right here. What is subject to? And that's Black's law again. Subject to, conditional or dependent on something. Being under domination. You hear that word? Being under domination. So therefore, the 14th Amendment is saying that for you to be a citizen of the United States, you have to be born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction of. So when you call yourself a United States citizen, you are under the domination as of the authority of government, subject to the whims of the boss. You hear that? Of the boss. So right here, in less than 20 minutes into the lecture, I'm already proving to you that you're a slave. For those of you who call yourself Black and African Americans. Okay? Exposed or open to undesirable or unfortunate criticism. The necessity of undergoing something, liable or prone to suffer something. Now, if you go look at the etymology of suffer, suffer means to allow. So everything that's being done to you, you are allowing it. Once again, free will. Free will. So you are a slave voluntary. You are a voluntary slave. Now, I know this is going to rub a lot of you the wrong way. And may I say, I am not here to offend anyone, but I am here to tell you the truth. I am here to open up your eyes, and the truth will hurt. Okay? The truth will hurt. And I'm not going to apologize for the truth. So please, it's facts over feelings. I'm showing you the facts. All right. What is suffer? Suffer. To suffer an act to be done by a person who can prevent it. So you hear that? To suffer an act to be done by a person who can prevent it. So they are saying, yes, you are suffering because you allow it, because you could prevent it, but you are not. So therefore, you cannot make a claim. Brothers and sisters, these people are very slick with the words that they use. Because once again, you thinking in your mind, suffer means, oh man, you hurt me, I'm in pain. No, that's not what it means. It means you are allowing them to inflict pain on you. And you could do something about it, and you are not doing anything about it. So let us read that suffer again. To suffer an act to be done by a person who can prevent it is to permit or consent, to approve of it, and not to hinder it. It implies a willingness of the mind. And they're giving you a few court cases to prove exactly that these people lost their case because they allowed the government to do the things to them because they went in the court and used the word suffer. Okay? So if you go to court and you tell the judge, well, Your Honor, I suffered by the hands of the police. Guess what? All you're going to hear is dismiss. Okay? Because if you are the plaintiff and the police is the defendant and you go in there and use the word suffer, well, Your Honor, I suffered by the hands of the police, the judge is going to say what? Your case is dismissed and give the decision or the victory to the defendant because you said that you suffered. And in legal terms, suffer means you allowed it. So you see, a lot of times, our people, and I'm not saying everybody, okay, so please do not take this the wrong way, but the majority of our people don't study law. So therefore, when it comes to studying law, they get headaches. It's a little boring. It gets a little overwhelming and they just give up. And please don't feel bad because I used to be in that situation. I never liked studying law. But one day I got into a situation and nobody wanted to assist me. Okay? And I had to get out of it myself. And I had to force myself to learn to research law and study law. And guess what? I was able to win. I went to court and I won. And from that very day, I was addicted to learning law. Not the legal system, but the law. There's a difference because I wasn't going to study all these codes. All right? It is not necessary to study all these damn codes. All you need to know is the law. It's that simple. Because the law supersedes any policy. The law supersedes any statute. The law supersedes any codes and policies and statutes. All right? So be very mindful with the words that you use in the legal system. That's why when they what they call arrest you or detain you, they tell you you have a right to remain silent because they know that you're going to say something that you think you're saying, but you don't know, and you're going to say something to incriminate yourself. So when they tell you to be quiet, trust me, be quiet. All right? I hope we're doing good thus far. What is jurisdiction? Jurisdiction, the power and authority constitutionally conferred upon or constitutionally recognized as existing in a court or a judge to pronounce the sentence of law or to award the remedies provided by law upon a state of facts provided or admitted, referred to the tribunal for decision and authorized by law to be the subject of investigation or action by that tribunal, and in favor of or against persons or a res who present themselves or who are brought before the court in some manner sanctioned by law as proper and sufficient. So in layman's term, jurisdiction means that you are giving them permission, okay, to let them make you part of their investigation so that they could make decisions that's going to affect your life. So for me, I never give them jurisdiction. I always question jurisdiction because when you first go before the court or you go into court, they're going to assume and presume that you are property. They're going to assume and presume that you are a ward of the state. They're going to assume and presume that you are a citizen of the corporation. So I always question jurisdiction. You always have to question that. So those are key words when you're dealing with this legal system. That's how they get a lot of our people, because once again, our people don't study law. All right? So that's why I took the time and put this together for y'all. Like I said, it took me about 5 days. And I broke this down so that a baby could understand it. And I also give you links and references so you could teach your children, teach your people. because our people perish for the lack of knowledge. All right. U.S. Supreme Court landmark decision, Atlanta, January 18th, 2011. That was when, around 2011, the so-called blacks and African Americans were pulled back into slavery. I mean, apart from the 14th Amendment. All right. Now it says the U.S. Supreme Court issued a landmark decision that serves to allow judges to void the Constitution in their courtrooms. Now, brothers and sisters, I don't think y'all heard me. Yes, that link, like I told y'all before, that link is actually on the website, or it's on the website, but someone suggested that I put it in the chat, so I'm gonna put it here so you could click on it and you could go ahead and follow with me. So yes, I just put it in the link, my sister. It's in the link. All right. Where am I now? I'm not distracted. You know, I just wanted to honor the sister's wish and put it in there. So let me get back. Okay, here we go. All right. So it's in the link. Okay. So you could click on it, but I am gonna make it available in the below the video after the lecture is done. But I just put it in the link so that you guys could click on it and you could follow. All right. Now, brothers and sisters, pay attention, especially for those of you that live in Atlanta. You have to know these things and realize why. Why every time you go to court, you are losing. How is that every time you get pulled over, you go into jail? It's because you don't know the law. Okay? You don't know the law. So, the U.S. Supreme Court landmark decision. I'm reading right here. Let me just highlight that so you guys can see where I'm reading. Okay? Let me ask you guys, can you guys see what I'm reading? Are you able to read the screen real quick before I proceed? Are you guys able to read the screen? Can you see what I'm reading? Anybody could give me an answer for that. Anybody, don't matter. I just want to make sure. All right, beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that, Messiah. Okay, so pay attention to this, all right? And that was a Supreme Court ruling in 2011. So that means there's no constitution, brothers and sisters, okay, in the United States. And mind you, when I speak of the United States, we'll get into that, exactly what it means a little later. But they are not governing the people from the Constitution, or at least not the organic Constitution. So in January 18th of 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a landmark decision that serves to allow judges to void the Constitution in their courts. So therefore, when you go to court and you start talking about, oh, well, I have constitutional rights, guess what? You don't have any constitutional rights because there's no Constitution. The decision was issued on January 18th, 2011, and a paragraphs below in the same articles reads, Windsor says, and that's a man, Windsor, that's quoting, okay? Quote, I have discovered that the federal judges in Atlanta, Georgia, Washington, D.C., and all the justices of the United States Supreme Court function like a common criminal, intentionally making bogus rulings against honest people while covering up the crimes of their fellow judges. I have been contacted by people from all over the country and around the world with their stories of judicial corruption with judges all over the USA or the United States. My charges have been totally ignored by the United States Attorney Office, the FBI, and Congress. I do not believe there is decency, honesty, or constitutional rights in our federal courts. In my opinion, we now live in a police state. Judges are free to do absolutely anything they want. Our laws are meaningless. Your life savings can be stolen by a federal judge, and they have no risk in violating every law in the books. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, you have to realize what's going on. Now, I put a link there for you could see exactly what it is. So now that link is clickable. Like I said, a lot of time was put into this. All right? So let us click on the link. Let us click on the link. It's going to take us out of the lecture for a minute, but we'll come back. So once you click on that link, you will come to this page right here. Okay? Just so that you could see for yourself the U.S. Supreme decision, and now you could read the entire document. So now you wouldn't just say, well, man, Chief Kalanago is just making things up. Oh, I cannot prove this. Well, you know what? I'm giving you all the source. You feel me? Absolutely right. You are not in a lawful court. That's right. Okay? So let us go back to the lecture. All right? Just to let y'all know, the links are clickable and you have all the sources so that you could cross-reference everything that I'm saying. Because like I said, I want you guys to prove me wrong. All right? Or prove me right. Now, to things in perspective, that means the 13th Amendment is void. You hear that? The 13th Amendment is void. What was the 13th Amendment? The 13th Amendment said that slavery or involuntary servitude became illegal in the United States. But in 2011, guess what they did? There was a Supreme Court ruling that says that judges have the right to take out the Constitution out of their courts. And the 13th Amendment, which dealt with civil rights, which African Americans / blacks used to argue for civil rights, that is now gone. So brothers and sisters, like I told y'all before, you have no rights, okay? You have no rights, because even the 14th Amendment that was put in place for so-called blacks and African Americans, they no longer have it. It's gone. Any case that is taken to a federal court, the judge has the authority now to void out the case and the Constitution. For example, in the state of Georgia courtrooms, the flag in the courtrooms has a yellow fringe around it. The yellow fringe around the 50-star flag means that your constitutional rights has been suspended while you are in the courtroom. So when you go into a courtroom, look at the flags. Okay, pay attention to the flags. That will give you an indication whether it's a constitutional court or not. So I'm going to read that again. For example, in the state of Georgia courtrooms, the flag in the courtroom has a yellow fringe around it. The yellow fringe around the 50-star flag means that your constitution has been suspended while you are in the courtroom. Therefore, African Americans / blacks have no rights in these courts. They do it in federal, state, county, family, traffic, and all local courts. The judges are not judges. They are so-called, but they are actually Puerto Rican judges. Now, brothers and sisters, pay attention to what I'm saying. Okay? The judges in these courts, they are not judges. They are Puerto Rican judges. Not Puerto Rican in the sense that they were born in Puerto Rico. No, they are Puerto Rican judges because that means they are governing from the jurisdiction of Puerto Rico. And the proof is 48 U.S. Code, Section 874, judicial process. Officials to be citizens of the United States oath. Now, I'm going to read that for you, and then you could go look it up yourself. Like I said, prove me right or prove me wrong. It reads, all judicial process shall run in the States of America. The President of the United States and all penal or criminal prosecutions in the local courts shall be conducted in the name and by the authority of the people of what? Puerto Rico. Man, y'all think it's a game. Y'all really think it's a game, huh? Why do you think over 98% of the people who go to court, they lose? Because it's actually in the USC code, in the US code, that all the judges, they are actually governing from Puerto Rico. Even if, and when I say Puerto Rico, once again, it doesn't mean that they were born in Puerto Rico. All right? It doesn't mean that. It just means from a jurisdiction perspective, they're taking you off the land. Basically, that's what they are doing. So I'm going to read that again. All judicial process shall run in the name of the United States of America. The President of the United States and all penal or criminal prosecutions in the local courts shall be conducted in the name and by the authority of the people of Puerto Rico. All officials shall be citizens of the United States, and before entering upon the duties of their respective offices shall take an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the laws of what? Puerto Rico. Man, y'all think it's a game out here, huh? So you are actually going to Puerto Rico, not the actual country, but a racketeering court. So whenever you go into court, brothers and sisters, guess what? You are just stepping into Puerto Rico, because that's where you are being governed from. Not the actual country, but a racketeering court. All the parties are involved: the clerk, the prosecutor, the defense, the public defender. Why would you want to get a public defender in the first place? They work for the same people that's prosecuting you. They will never be on your side. The judges, etc., are all part of the same society called the American Bar Association. Because of this decision, African Americans are still in slavery. If you pay attention to the date, it was on the 18th of January 2011, a day after Martin Luther King Jr. federal holiday. They didn't just do it, but they made it public. So why aren't any civil rights groups such as NAACP, the National Action Committee, the Rainbow Push screaming over this and fighting to repeal this decision since its inception in 2011? So once again, I am showing you that these people, the so-called black people that are supposed to be representing you, they are all part of this. Okay? They are all part of this. When Trayvon Martin got shot in 2012, that was a perfect opportunity to bring that argument up in order to bring national attention to that Supreme Court decision. But yet still no one did. African Americans and so-called blacks are always screaming civil rights. When the Dred Scott case decision of 1857 clearly states that no descendants of Africans can be citizens of the United States of America. There is a vast difference between the United States and the United States of America. The United States is a federal corporation, and the United States of America is a religious corporation that is under the control of the Queen, and the ultimate order is the Vatican. No, I have to go update that right here. This is supposed to be the United States of America, not if a federal corporation is. All right, the United States is a federal corporation. So I'm going to make a note of that, and I will update that and on the website and upload it again. So let me just make a note of that. Give me a second. Where it says it mentions Trayvon Martin, and we're talking about it's supposed to be the United States is, not if. Okay, so I'm going to correct that. So brothers and sisters, I hope you guys see where I'm going with this. Okay, the United States is a corporation, and the United States of America is a religious corporation that is under the control of the Queen, and ultimate order is the Vatican. Before we move forward, in 1933, the United States declared bankruptcy under Public Law 89-719, which put the United States, as it was known, organically into bankruptcy and made the United States organic a corporation. And here's the link. And once again, I put the link below for you guys. Let us click on the link. So you have reference. You have things that you could refer to. So that's a link right there that you could go check it and read it yourself. All right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the document, and all that stuff is going to be on the website. All right. All that stuff is going to be on the website. Let's go here. Let's come back. Give me a second here, guys. It's like every time I click on a link, It's so I'm gonna have to just let you guys go check the links for yourself. Okay, but I'm gonna prove to you again that the United States is bankrupt. Okay, and I have all the documents to prove it. So by that token, anyone who calls themselves a U.S. citizen is admitting that they are chattel property of the federal corporation. More proof. The congressman down in Florida, Alan West, said the president is just the CEO of that corporation called the United States of America on national TV. The truth is told publicly, but people say and do nothing about it. So therefore, they acquiesce to all that is being said and done to them. With hindsight, the government bears no liability. So essentially, what am I saying? These people have an obligation to tell you exactly what they are doing to you. But because the people are so brainwashed, because the people are so dead, the people are so misled, so uneducated, they don't have the knowledge, they acquiescence. And what does acquiescence mean? Acquiescence means, okay, the action of consenting that is usually accompanied without any enthusiasm, agree to go in quietly. So when you do not rebuttal the things that they are doing to you or they are saying, then you accept what they are doing to you. So therefore, the government bears no liability. Now, I'm going to pull up a document to show you that the United States became bankrupt. Here we go. And I will put that for sure. I will put that in the link for you guys on, well, I'll put it on the website so that you could, you're able to click on it and get that information. So here we go. Let me see here. All righty. United States congressional records. And I'm going into their records. I'm not just pulling things off the internet. No, I'm going into the congressional records. I am showing you the proof of all the things that I'm speaking of. United States congressional records, March 17th, 1993, volume 33, page H/1303. Speaker, Representative James Traficant Jr., Ohio, addressing the House. And he says, Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are officially trustees, presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in the world's history, the U.S. government. My brothers and sisters, I'm going to read that again. Because a lot of times, sometimes, you have to be repeating things. You have to make it a little bit redundant for it to really set in, for people to truly understand the reality of their lives. Okay? Now, a senator is saying that. He said, Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are officially trustees because they are trustees and we are the beneficiaries, okay? Members of the Congress are officially trustees presiding over what? The greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity. You hear that? Entity in the world history, the U.S. government. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who say that it is a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. You hear that? It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved. My brothers and sisters, there is no government. So you are living an illusion. It is right here. It is not my words. It is their words. They are telling you the truth. But people still want to go out there and vote because they think there is a government. Okay, oh, well, that's my president. Oh, Republicans, oh, Democrats. Oh, well, I love Obama. Well, I love Bush. I hate Trump. Man, listen, they're all the same. It's a game that they're playing with y'all. There's no government. They have hijacked the original and the organic constitution. And you are being governed by a corporation. That's why they have a president, a CEO. Those are not my words, brothers and sisters. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act of March 9th, 1933. That was when FDR was the president. 48 Statute 1 Public Law 89-719 declared by who? President Roosevelt. Being bankrupt and insolvent, H.J.R. 192, 73rd Congress in session, June 5th, 1933. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause, dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States, meaning the people, and official capacities of all United States governmental officers and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. My brothers and sisters, the United States government only exists on paper. There is no government. So when they tell you you are breaking laws, you are not breaking no damn laws. When they pull you into court, there is no court. My people, you perish for the lack of knowledge. Let's proceed. The receivers of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers. You hear that? Of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers via the United Nations. Okay, the same people that gave us on drip, by the way. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating within what? A de facto status in name only. Do you know what de facto means? De facto means, in fact, literally, legally, it's not legal and it's not moral. So it is not a de jure government. It is a de facto government in name only under emergency war powers. You know what that means? Emergency war powers mean that the people became enemies of the state, and from since 1933, well, even before that, but officially before 1930, in 1933, we became what? We were put into martial law. Man, listen, brothers and sisters, y'all need to know what's going on. With the constitutional Republican form of government now dissolved, all right? Remember, there's a difference between a democratic form of government, all right? There's a difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. They're all the same thing. Whether it may be Republican and Democrat, they are both democratic forms of government. However, a republic is something different. So when people go voting, they think they are voting to bring back the republic. No. The type of Republican Party they have right now, it is the same thing as the Democratic Party. They are both democratic systems. So literally left wing, right wing, same bird. Okay. The receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted the new form of government for the United States. This new form of government is known as a democracy, being an established socialist, you hear that? Socialist communist order under a new governor for America. They're telling you in their own documents that you are part of a communist system. But because the people are brain dead, because all they want to do is watch reality shows, okay? All they want to do is look at Love and Hip Hop and Scandal and Power, and look at sports, football, basketball, who's the best, LeBron, Stephen Curry, while you are being governed by a communist system, a socialist system. There is no government. You are being governed by a corporation. But when people tell y'all the truth, you see, the truth is not popular, huh? But it's okay though. I'm going to continue to bring the truth. So now you cannot say it's nobody's fault. You cannot blame anything on anybody because now you know. So that means you're allowing it to happen to you. All right. Now I'm reading from here now, just in case you guys don't know, so you guys could follow me, okay? Or you guys could, keep up with what I'm reading. Are we good so far? Everybody's good? Is everybody good so far? Can we continue? I just highlighted where I'm at. So can we continue? Everybody's good? And brothers and sisters, if you're loving the information, man, listen, like I said, feel free to support. Feel free to support the super chat, all right? Because I promise you, they don't teach you that. Many of y'all go to school and pay thousands and thousands of dollars, okay, in school to get an education, and they don't teach y'all that. Now you're here getting the real knowledge. So I think you guys should show your appreciation, all right? Definitely support the information. Now, this is where I'm at. This act was instituted and established by transferring and or placing the office of the Secretary of Treasury to that of the government of the International Monetary Fund, Public Law 94-564, page 8, section H.R, which is House Resolution 13955, reads in part, the U.S. Secretary of Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States. Gold and silver was such a powerful money during the founding of the United States of America that the founding fathers, which is not our founding fathers, but their founding fathers, that only gold or silver coins can be money in America. So my brothers and sisters, you don't have money. Everybody's broke. Because what you call money is not money. It's only a piece of paper. That is not money. Money was gold and silver. Only gold and silver can be money in the United States of America. So you are here killing your brothers and sisters, hating your brothers and sisters, all this animosity and jealousy over a piece of paper that don't mean a damn thing. It has no value. It is called a promissory note. So you are never paying anything. You are promising to pay. So therefore you are always in debt. It is a debt instrument. My brothers and sisters, wake the hell up. Since gold and silver coinage were heavy and inconvenient for a lot of transactions, they were stored in banks and claim check was issued as a money substitute. People traded their coupons as money or currency. Currency is not money, okay? But a money substitute. Redeemable currency must promise to pay a dollar equivalent in gold or silver money. Federal Reserve notes make no such promises and are not money. You hear that? Brothers and sisters, in the congressional records, in their own words, they are telling you that what you have is not money. But how many of you will look at this video? How many of you will research the information and know the truth and still think you have money and still go out there and hate your brother and sister, kill a brother or a sister for that useless piece of paper? It is a mental disease. I'm going to read that again. And I'm reading right here. Federal Reserve notes make no such promises. In other words, they're saying that Federal Reserve notes it is not equivalent to money, to silver or gold. So it cannot be redeemable. It makes no promise to pay. All right? It is not equivalent to that. It's only a promise. Now, the Federal Reserve notes make no such promise as they are not money. A Federal Reserve note is a debt obligation of the federal United States government. My brothers and sisters, by accepting that as money, what did you just do? You accepted the debt of the federal United States government. You hear that? In their own words, not mine. This is not Chief Kalanago speaking. This is their own documents, in their own words. A Federal Reserve note is a debt obligation. So in other words, when you call this thing money, you are under the obligation to pay the debt of the federal government, not money. The federal United States government and the United States Congress were not and have never been authorized by the Constitution for the United States of America. You hear the difference? There's a difference between the United States Constitution of America and the Constitution for the United States. You see how they change it? The Constitution for the United States is the organic Constitution. And they hijacked it and they gave you the Constitution of the United States, which is the corporation. My brothers and sisters, people perish for the lack of knowledge. Okay? People perish for the lack of knowledge. The federal United States government and the United States Congress were not allowed, and have never been authorized by the Constitution for the United States of America to issue currency of any kind, but only lawful money, which is gold and silver coins. It is essential that we comprehend the distinction between money and paper money substitute. One cannot get rich by accumulating money substitute. One can only get deeper in debt. So my brothers and sisters, when you think you have so much money in the bank, guess what? You only have debt, because it is a debt instrument. It is not money. And they are telling you that in their own words. We, the people, no longer have any money. Most Americans have not been paid any money for a very long time, perhaps not in their entire life. Now, do you comprehend why you feel broke? Now, do you understand why you are bankrupt along with the rest of the country? My brothers and sisters, it's not just you, me too. We are all broke because we think this is money. It is not money. It is a debt instrument, death instrument to kill you. Federal Reserve notes are unsigned checks written on a closed amount. Federal Reserve notes are an inflatable paper system designed to create debt through inflation, devaluation of currency. Whenever there is an increase of a supply of money substitute in the economy without a corresponding increase in gold and silver backing, inflation occurs. Inflation is an invisible form of taxation and irresponsible governments inflict on their citizens. The Federal Reserve Bank, who controls the supply and movement of Federal Reserve notes, has everybody fooled. They have access to an unlimited supply of Federal Reserve notes, paying only for the printing costs of what they need. Federal Reserve notes are nothing more than what? Promissory notes for the United States Treasury Security T-bills. A promise to pay the debt to the Federal Reserve Bank. There is a fundamental difference between paying and discharging a debt. To pay a debt, you must pay with the value of substance, example, gold, silver, batter, or a commodity. With Federal Reserve notes, you can only discharge a debt. So brothers and sisters, all your debts, you could discharge them because there is no money. There is no money. But that's another video. You cannot pay a debt with a debt currency system. How can you pay a debt with a debt? Isn't it called a bill, a dollar bill, a $5 bill, a $20 bill, a $50 bill, a $100 bill? So when they give you a telephone bill, why would you pay a bill to pay a bill? All you are doing is just discharging the debt. Brothers and sisters, wake the hell up. No contract in common law is valid unless it involves an exchange of good or valuable consideration. Unpayable debt transfers power and control to the sovereign power structure that has no interest in money, law, equity, or justice because they have so much wealth already. Their lust is for power and control. Since the inception of the central banking, they have controlled the fates of nations. And the Rothschild said it best. The Rothschild said what? I don't care who controls a country. I don't care who the prime minister is. I don't care who the president is. I don't care who the leader is. Let me control their money and I will control that country. The Rothschild said that. And guess who control your country? Enough said. The Federal Reserve System is based on what? Canon law and the principles of sovereignty protected in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. In fact, the international bankers used a canon law trust as their model, adding stock and naming it a joint stock trust. The US Congress had passed a law making it illegal for any legal person to duplicate a joint stock trust in 1873. The Federal Reserve Act, legislated post facto to 1870, although post facto laws are strictly forbidden by the Constitution. 1:9:3. The Federal Reserve System is a sovereign power structure, separate and distinct from the federal United States government. The Federal Reserve is a maritime lender and or maritime insurance underwriter for the federal United States operating exclusively under Admiralty maritime law. In other words, not natural law. Okay? Only the laws of the sea, not the laws of the land. Okay? The lender or underwriter bears the risk, and the maritime law compelling specific performance in paying the interest or premiums are the same. Assets of the debtor can also be hypothecated to pledge something as a security without taking possession of it as security by the lender or underwriter. The Federal Reserve Act stipulated that the interest on the debt was to be paid in gold. There was no stipulation in the Federal Reserve Act for ever paying the principal. Now, this is very significant here, my brothers and sisters. Pay attention to what I'm about to relate to you right now. Prior to 1913, most Americans owned a allodial title to property, free and clear of any liens, in other words, any taxes or mortgages, until the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. So before 1913, we had the allodial titles to our property, okay, free of any taxes and liens or mortgages. So let me ask you a question. Why are y'all paying taxes today? Why are you paying mortgages today? But I'm going to break down some things today that's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt you. But sometimes for us to get healing, we have to hurt. We have to know what hurt feels like so that we could step up and learn to heal ourselves. Because what I'm going to give you is going to hurt. It's going to go deep. Okay? It's going to hurt you today. But it's not, I don't want it to hurt you because I'm being malice. No. I want it to hurt you because you could know that the life that you have been living is an illusion. Okay? I want you to see the pain. See the life that you're living. It's not real. You are living a fantasy and you think it's real. It's not. Okay? Now here we go. Hypothecated. All property within the United States. Now, mind you, like I said, prior to 1913, most Americans owned clear. And when they say most Americans prior to 1913, guess who they're still talking about? They're talking about the Aboriginals, the so-called what? American Indians. You did. Hypothecated. all property within the federal United States to the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, in which the trustees, which are the stockholders, held legal title. The U.S. citizen's tenant franchise was registered as a beneficiary of the trust via his / what? Birth certificate. Oh my goodness, Chief Kalanago, you hurting them too bad today. So therefore, the birth certificate was what? Created to make you the beneficiary of the trust, the franchise. You became a tenant, the franchisee of the franchise. So we are supposed to be the beneficiary. That's why we have every lawful right to discharge every single bill and every single debt, because what? It's already paid for. But people perish for the lack of knowledge. You perish for the lack of knowledge because of your birth certificate. That instrument called the birth certificate. You are the beneficiary. And the birth certificate, like I've done videos before and told you, it is not a form of identity. However, it was created as an instrument so that it could be used as your beneficial interest to discharge those debts. In 1933, the federal United States hypothecated all of the present and future properties, assets, and labor of their subjects. What? Their subjects. Didn't I read to you in the beginning the definition of subjects? The 14th Amendment, U.S. citizen, the slave. That's right. The Federal Reserve System. So when I tell you a slave, I know what I'm talking about. Like I said, it's facts over feelings. In return, the Federal Reserve System agreed to extend the federal United States cooperation all in the credit money substitute. Indeed. All right, give me a second here, guys. What have we here? Give me a second here. Give me a second. Let me just get back to this. Okay, here we go. I hope you guys are with me, man. I hope you guys are with me, because we have to get this. It's the only way we are going to be able to take ourselves out of this mess. All right? It's the only way we have to be able to. We are going to take ourselves out of this mess. I don't care how much of an Aborigine you call your damn self. I don't care how much of an Indian you call your damn self. I don't care what you call yourself. Okay? We are debt slaves because we think this is money. All right? So I'm giving y'all the facts. I ain't got time to be playing around. In return, the Federal Reserve System agreed to extend the federal United States you hear that? United States Corporation. How much more proof do you want? That you are a citizen of a corporation. All in the credit money substitute it needed. Like any other debtor, the federal United States government had to assign collateral and security to their creditors as a condition of the loan. Since the federal United States didn't have any assets, they assigned the private property of their economic slaves, the United States citizen, as collateral against the unpayable federal debt. Brothers and sisters, they could never pay this debt. That's why they created the promise to pay. And who they're using as the collateral? You. The ones who call themselves United States citizens. The one who call themselves blacks and African Americans. And that also goes to the so-called white people as well. They're not white. Okay, they are not white. White is a status of purity and original and light. So they are the pale Europeans. Okay? So y'all better wake up and realize what life you are living. And all these governmental people know that. A lot of your top celebrities know that. They know that. But they have to keep you distracted. They have to keep you as that debt slave. Because you are in a voluntary form of servitude, slavery. All right? You go around talking about, oh, I love God, I love Jesus. entities that you have never seen. But here you are, next to your brother or your sister. You hate them. Animosity, hatred, jealousy. But yet still you love a Jesus or a God that you never seen. A bunch of hypocrites. Like I said, I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to tell you the damn truth. Like it or not, I'm not going to apologize for telling you the truth. They also pledge the unincorporated federal territories, national parks, birth certificates, and non-profit organizations as what? Collateral against the federal debt. That's right. So when you go anywhere and you say, oh, well, you know what? Whoever is on that birth certificate is me. You just became what? Part of the national debt. All has already been transferred as payment to the international what? Bankers. That's why your mother had to become a what? An informant. Y'all gonna learn today. Saneter, Pharaoh-Boyce, Watkins. I hope you're learning a lesson today and stop calling our people black and African Americans. But if they want to allow you to call them that, then that's on them. But I'm here dropping the truth. Okay? Now where we at? Yeah, let me see. Give me a second here, guys. All right, here. This is where I'm at now, okay? Let me just highlight that for you guys. I'm here now. Man, that's what's up, man. Somebody just thank you, you know, my sister Keisha for that donation. I appreciate that. And somebody just donated to my Cash App. So I thank you so much. That means a lot to me, man. You know, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I'm here now. Okay. Thank you. Unwittingly, America has returned to its pre-American Revolution feudal roots, whereby all land is held by sovereign and the common people have no rights to hold allodial title to property. Once again, we the people are the tenants and sharecroppers. Let me ask you a question. Didn't our ancestors, didn't they call themselves what? Sharecroppers? Guess what? You are still sharecroppers because you are tenants. You actually own the land. We are actually the landlords that have become tenants. Just so y'all know what's going on. Once again, we the people are the tenants and sharecroppers renting our own property from a sovereign in the guise of a Federal Reserve Bank. We are renting our own property. Y'all better wake up. We the people have exchanged one master for another. This has been going on for over 80 years without the informed knowledge of the American people. Well, guess what? Chief Kalanago is telling y'all the truth today. Without a voice protesting loud enough, now it's every grasp why America is fundamentally bankrupt. Why don't more people own their property outright? Why are 90% of Americans mortgaged to the hilt and have little or no assets after all debts and liabilities have been paid? Why does it feel like you are working harder and harder and getting less and less? We are reaping what has been sown, and the result of our harvest is painful bankruptcy, a foreclosure on American property, precious liabilities, and a way of life. Few of our elected representatives in Washington, D.C. have dared to tell the truth. The federal United States is bankrupt. Our children will inherit this unpayable debt and the tyranny to enforce paying it. America has become completely bankrupt in a world leadership, financial credit, and its reputation for courage, vision, and human rights. This is an undeclared economic war, bankruptcy, and economic slavery of the most corrupt order. Wake up, America. Take back our country. Emphasis added on take back. You feel me? Brothers and sisters, this is real. Okay? This is real. That is the reality that you are living. Okay? A reality, a fantasy that is being promoted as a reality. All right. So just to recap on this document, which I'm going to put on the website, so it will be in the link below. The United States has been bankrupt since 1933. There is no money. It is the what you call money right now is not money. It is only a debt instrument. That's why it's called a promissory note. So that's why they could come take your house, because you never paid. So every time you pay a bill, you were promising to pay. So you have never paid. You have never paid. As a matter of fact, for you to say that you pay is actually illegal, because it is not money. But a lot of you today, you're going to hear the truth. You're going to read the truth. You're going to research the truth and still go back to your slavery. Because you know what? You love master. You can't do without master. Some of y'all may be afraid. But whatever happens to you, when you suffer, it's your fault, but no one else's but yours. But yours. Let us go to another document. Y'all want the truth? Can y'all handle the truth? I don't think y'all could handle the truth, but I'm going to give it to you today. All right? I'm going to give it to you today. If you want to continue to let these people on YouTube with their channels, with their big platforms call you black and African American, and call you African American and black, that's on you. You don't call them out, that's on you. That's your fault. Nobody else's but yours. Now, I'm going to get into public policy. House Joint Resolution 192. Can y'all handle the truth? Joint resolution to suspend what? Gold standard and abrogate the gold clause. June 5th, 1933. H.Res. 192, 73rd Congress, first session. That is their documents. It ain't mine. I didn't make it. It's coming from them. Joint resolution to assure uniform value to the coins and currencies of the United States. Whereas the holding of or dealing in gold affects the public interest and therefore subject to proper regulation and restriction. And whereas the existing emergency has disclosed that provisions of obligations which purport to give the obligee a right to require payment in gold or a particular kind of coin or currency of the United States, or in an amount of money of the United States measured thereby, obstruct the power of Congress to regulate the value of money of the United States, and are inconsistent with the declared policy of the Congress to maintain at all times the equal power of every dollar, the coin, or issued by the United States in the markets and payments of debts. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled that A, every provision contained in or made with respect to any obligation which purports to give the obligee a right to require payment in gold or in a particular kind of coin currency or in an amount in money of the United States measured, therefore, is declared to be against public policy, and in money of the United States measured thereby is declared to be against public policy, and no such provision shall be contained or in or made with respect to any obligation thereafter incurred. Every obligation herefore or hereafter incurred, whether or not any such provision is contained therein or made with respect thereto, shall be discharged upon payment, dollar for dollar. You hear that? So because of this joint resolution right here, okay, House joint resolution, where am I at? Man, let me get back to this. Because of House joint resolution, because they took the money away, they're telling you that you have every right as a citizen, whatever you want to call yourself, to discharge those debts. Okay? Any such provision contained in any law authorizing obligations to be issued by or under authority of the United States is hereby repealed. But the repeal of any such provision shall not invalidate any other provision or authority contained such law. B, As used in this resolution, the term obligation means an obligation including every obligation of and to the United States, accepting currency payable in money of the United States. And the term coin or currency means coin or currency of the United States, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of the Federal Reserve banks and national banking associations. Section 2. The last sentence of the paragraph 1 of subsection B of section 43 of the Act entitled An Act to Relieve the Existing National Economic Emergency by Increasing Agricultural Purchasing Power to raise revenue for extraordinary expenses incurred by reason of such emergency, to provide emergency relief with respect to agricultural indebtedness, to provide for the orderly liquidation of joint stock, land banks, and for other purposes, approved May 12, 1933, is amended to read as follows. All coins and currencies of the United States, including Federal Reserve notes and circulating notes of Federal Reserve banks and national banking associations, heretofore or hereafter coined or issued, shall be legal tender for what? All debts, for public and private. They're talking about the note, okay? Public charges, taxes, duties, and dues, single piece shall be legal tender only at valuation in proportion to their actual weight. Approved June 5th, 1933, 4:40 p.m. All right? Now, therefore, be it resolved that every provision contained, it says every, not some, but every provision contained in or made with respect to any obligation which purports to give the obligee to, in gold or particular kind of coin or currency, or an amount in dollars of the United States measured thereby, is declared to be, and no such provision shall be contained in or made with respect to any obligation hereafter incurred. Some of the words they took off of that. Heretofore or hereafter incurred, whether or not any such provision is contained therein or made respect thereto. So basically, essentially, all this is saying is this, right? Here we go with the notes below. On June 5th, 1933, Congress passed House Joint Resolution 192, Public Law 773-10, 48 Statute 112. Notice in the highlighted excerpt above that payment is still possible, even though not required, and that only payment can discharge a debt, a charge. All other post payments, example, promissory notes, Federal Reserve notes, and checks of payments only displace the debt onto another party, delaying the discharge. So essentially what they're saying is that you could still pay off debts in legal and lawful money. However, for promissory notes and Federal Reserve notes and checks, all it's doing is just transferring the debt onto another party. All right, all you're doing is delaying the discharge. Of course, this payment is only possible by performance, with said performance being our signature. Okay, your signature. Since there is no money in circulation for us to pay with that, or to pay with. Notice also why they cannot provide proof of claim, right? Because such a right claim is declared to be against public policy. So a lot of times when they bring a claim against you, you have to ask them to prove it. Okay, prove that I owe you, because there's no money. Okay, there's no money. So how can I owe you if there's no money? It's that simple. Black's Dictionary 6th edition defines claim as to demand, as one's own, or as one's right. So now we can see the connection between claim, right, and public policy, and how no one since 1933 can provide a proof of claim, right, to demand payment for any obligation. You hear that? So how can they demand payment from you for anything when there's no money? It is that simple, brothers and sisters. It is that simple. All right. But like I said, I will put that in the on the website and make an attempt to put it in the link below. So let us go back to the website, okay, so we could continue. All right, here we go. So now that we went over acquiescence and what acquiescence mean, let us continue with this lesson here, okay? Back on track. Question: is there any kind of protection for African Americans? So now we're still dealing with the issues and the case of the African American, because people continue to call themselves Black and African Americans. The answer is yes. There is. They always give you a way out, but they will never act on it. In other words, what I'm saying is this: the government know what they have done, so they always give you a backdoor channel so you could get out of the situation, so that when claims are being brought against them, they will not be held accountable, so to speak. But at the same time, they could still be held liable. There's a difference, and I'm going to break that down a little later. Okay, so they're always going to give you a way out. Well, you know what? We did tell them it's a corporation, but nah, they didn't tell you. They put the information out, but if you don't study, how you going to know? You are flesh and blood, even if they look at you as chattel property. But when it comes across as if they are violating your human rights or indigenous rights, they give you some sort of resolution. All right, now here is the resolution right here. House Resolution 194, U.S. Congress apology to African Americans for slavery. So they are telling you, even if you still call yourself an African American, they're letting you know that you still have a chance. You still have a chance to correct what was done to you, brothers and sisters. So you don't need to be federally recognized, because they are actually acknowledging that they did something to you. So apologizing for the enslavement and racial segregation of African Americans. And it reads, whereas millions of Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States and the 13th colonies from 1619 through 1865. Whereas slavery in the America resembled no other form of involuntary servitude known in history, as Africans were captured and sold at auction like inanimate objects or animals, whereas Africans forced into slavery were brutalized, humiliated, dehumanized, and subjected to the indignity of being stripped of their names and heritage. So what they're telling you, they're giving you a way out. House Resolution 194. Yes, we acknowledge that we have done this to you. We took your name. We took your heritage. We took your culture. We took your dignity. You were brutalized. You were humiliated. Now use the damn opportunity and correct your political standing. Stop being a slave. They're giving you a way out, damn it. They are admitting what they have done to you, whether you think you came from Africa or not, because they did 1-2 for the American Indians. So now we got both of them. All right. Whereas enslaved families were torn apart after having been sold separately from one another. So you don't need to be federally recognized. They're already telling you, we know what we did to you. We ripped your families apart. And I put the full link there so that you could go check it out yourself. I'm not going to click on the link because it takes me out of the lesson. Now, lesson. So I put lesson continued. What does that mean? After you click the link, you could always come back and know that you could continue the lesson. So where they mentioned, whereas Africans forced into slavery were brutalized, humiliated, dehumanized, and subject to indignity of being stripped of their names and heritage, that is your way out. Because for the United States Congress to admit that that is supposed to be you were. You know what? I'm going to have to read this again and edit that. But it's supposed to be that you were stripped of your names and heritage. That is a violation under what? International law. That is forced assimilation, genocide, apartheid, etc. Because of that, African Americans have a great opportunity, but they have to do their own research and take necessary steps to action. Brothers and sisters, nobody's going to do this for you. Nobody's going to do this for you. You're waiting for this Jesus to come save you. You're waiting for this one Messiah, this Martin Luther King and Malcolm X to come save you. No, these days are over. Everybody have to be Malcolm X. Everybody have to be, Martin Luther King. Everybody have to be Rosa Parks. Everybody have to be Jesus. Everybody have to be Yeshua. Everybody got to be their own savior. I cannot be your savior. All I could do is just bring you the information. That's all I could do. Okay, I could guide you with some information, but at the ending of the day, you could take a horse to a well, but you cannot force it to drink water. Okay? The US Congress is under the Vatican, and I just proved that to you guys earlier. All right? All the congressmen answer to who? The Pope, as representatives and acting in the capacity of a corporation, and they are required to give you an out. But it is not for them to initiate it and pursue it. It's for you. Why do you think the Pope came to see Obama and tell Obama, listen, man, these people are waking up and we don't want to be held responsible for these lawsuits. So allow these people to get a way out. Stop violating these people's rights because you have no immunity. You will be prosecuted. But the people, guess what? The people want to stay brain dead. The people want to remain the walking dead. They want to remain zombies. Okay? Because, like I said, they like the distractions. All right? All they want to watch is TV. That's all they want to watch is TV. Shop, do nails, do hair. Man, I'm just saying, man, my people, man. Wow. That means you don't have to go in front of any judges or to be federally recognized. They have already given you a way out. Brothers and sisters, I'm giving it to you. The problem is they look at the public as being programmed and functioning illiterally. Another thing is most African Americans / blacks do not study law. To be more precise, this is code. It's not really law. It is code. So what they are acknowledging is that there is a fictitious world and a flesh and blood world. There is two worlds, brothers and sisters, the matrix. Okay? The matrix. You are living in two worlds. The fictitious one that exists on paper, the birth certificate that you call yourself, and the other one, which is the flesh and blood, that's claiming to be the fake man and woman. That's why in the official code of Georgia, in 1-2-1, section A, there is no classes of person. There's two classes of person, natural and an artificial. And B, artificial persons are corporations which can be created or destroyed by will of their creator. Brothers and sisters, they created you on paper, so therefore they could destroy you by their will because they are your creator. Okay? The lesson that I'm reading from it's in the link. All right, and it's on the website. So, and also it's going to be in the video before. So all the information that you need is going to be in the link below. So you guys can have all that. This is something that I put together. I didn't just get it from somewhere else. I literally took 5 days to put this together to give it to you guys as a gift. All right, with extensive research. All right. So let us proceed. And I gave you the link as well so that you could go see it for yourself. Okay. So when an African American fills out these documents, they are basically saying that they are dead. When they put as a nationality United States citizen, they are confessing that they are on the plantation called the United States. Therefore, House Resolution 194 is the out, as well as House Resolution 3 and S Congress 26. We will go over these later. But this is what African Americans should be printing out and keeping with them in their travel and in their business affairs, saying, we were robbed of our names and heritage, so now we can claim that back. This is the basis on which African Americans can get reparations. But as long as they keep calling themselves African Americans or blacks, they will never get remedy / reparations. So now you have all these people talking about, you know, Claude Anderson and all the, oh, reparations. Man, you ain't going to get a dime because you're calling yourself Black and African American. Y'all just misleading the people. Now, and tell me all these people who claim to be so astute and they're scholars, and you're trying to tell me they don't know that? No, they're getting paid to mislead the people, and that's my personal opinion. All right. African Americans' status or standing in court is that of a slave, because when they ask you, is your name, example, John Doe, and you say yes, you just gave jurisdiction. All right. And we went over what jurisdiction means. You haven't denied. In other words, you never rebutted. You didn't say you deny corporate existence, because in the courts, they are only dealing with debtor and creditor under maritime law. Law of the sea is what happens in the court, not in the streets. They do not, they do the bait and switch. In the streets, they say you have constitutional rights, but that is a lie. But when you are dragged into court or file a lawsuit, you are under maritime law. Okay? So the judge there, there are no judges anyway, but we use that for the sake of this lesson. However, I prefer the real term administrative, or that's all they are, because all the courts are administrative. They are put in place to suck you dry so that they could take your money and pay the national debt that's never going to be paid. That's all they are. And all they look at is who is owed and who is owing, who is the creditor or who is the debtor. So from the time any African American walks in court, these so-called judges know the law. So they know that African American can never be a citizen of the United States of America. So right off the gate, they have no constitutional rights. And the so-called Black judges know this as well. In essence, you already lost coming into court, calling yourself Black or African American, and you are carrying a slave name. You have already lost if you are not going to rebut their presumption and assumption that you are their chattel property. Okay? Like I said, this is voluntary. African Americans have been given an illusion that they were free since the Emancipation of Proclamation signed by President Abraham Lincoln. And I put the link there below so you guys could go click the link for the Emancipation Proclamation. And Benjamin Franklin signed the Declaration of Independence. I put the link there for you guys as well. And in that, he sold everyone out prior to the Constitution because he put everyone in the 13th colonies back into slavery, and that is why he signed it as esquire. Okay? What is an esquire? So like I said, I broke this down. Okay? Does that mean nothing matters anymore? Well, nothing matters anymore if you call yourself Black and African American or a United States citizen. Okay? You have no standing in law. It only matters when you are in your proper standing, i.e., Aborigine or indigenous standing. Okay? That's when you have rights, not as property. So what is esquire? In English law, a title of dignity, next above gentleman and below knight. Also a title of office given to sheriffs, sergeants, and barristers at law, justices of the peace, and others. All right, so that's what it means to be an esquire. On the use of this term in American law, particularly as applied to justices of the peace and other inferior judicial offices. All right. Well, I mean, you know, if you go to work tomorrow, if you want to continue to pay your bills, I mean, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times, and there's no bills, but you see, it has to be something that the majority of the people, okay, wake up and do. And I'm not just talking about so-called African Americans and so-called Black people. Caucasians are also in the same boat. Okay, they are United States citizens. As long as you have a birth certificate, okay, you are a dead slave. So it's not just so-called black people, not just so-called African Americans, the people you call white as well, even if they are not white, they're in the same position. Okay? So the people have to wake up as a whole and realize what's going on. Abraham Lincoln, all he simply did was move the slaves from one plantation to the other plantation, because after the Civil War was over in 1865, he incorporated the United States under the Legislative Act of 1871, otherwise known as the DC Act, where it was incorporated. And I gave you the link. Okay, I gave you the link, brothers and sisters. So the District of Columbia has been a corporation since what? 1871. In 1933, they declared bankruptcy. The organic side was incorporated, and that protected them from paying their creditors. That is why they went into bankruptcy. You have all the links. I'm giving you all the proof. Okay? So if you want to continue to be in denial, like I tell y'all before, denial is a river that runs from the Americas into Africa. So if you want to go into the Nile and you can't swim, then you will drown. Okay? So the District of Columbia has been a corporation since 1871. In 1933, they declared bankruptcy. The organic side was incorporated, and that protected them from paying their creditors. That is why they went into bankruptcy. Under Public Law 89-719, I gave you the link as well in their own archives. Everybody, wherefore you considered yourself a citizen, African American, USA, etc. Around that time, they were under the Emergency War Power Act. Therefore, we had been under martial law since 1933. That is why they have to advertise the jurisdiction upon which they are operating. So when African Americans / blacks go into court and they see these yellow fringe flags, or if there is no fringes, they will have a gold spear or a gold eagle or a gold ball on the flag's pole, and it's mutilated flag. Therefore, it is not a Title IV United States Code flag. So that means there is no constitutional rights within that courtroom. All they are dealing with is code and administrative procedures. That is why the United States Supreme Court doesn't hear a lot of cases dealing with the Constitution, because 95% of the cases are all administrative. Example, traffic tickets, assault, child support, etc. They are all administrative and not constitutional courts. Okay? What can you do with the information now? You correct your political standing. That's what you do, so that you won't be considered a slave, so that they won't be able to drag you into court. All right? That's what you do. That is why when African Americans and black people go to court, when they ask, "Sir, ma'am, are you such and such?" they should deny corporate existence by saying, "Okay, I am an authorized representative for that corporation. I would like to know, is this a constitutional court or an admiralty court?" Meaning that a court that deals with, the laws of the water. Or what they can do before they cross the bar, they should say, "I see the yellow fringes around the state flag of Georgia or any state that you're in, or the 50-star flag. Is this a constitutional court or an admiralty court? I need to know that." What this does is it puts the judge on the spot, because that's 135 charges against the judge, 135 charges against the prosecutor, 135 charges against the public defender, or if you hire a lawyer. Because if they are operating any type of fraud that violates Title 18 of the USC under 241, which is deprivation of rights and denial of due process, they could be fined or go to jail. And I put it right here for you guys to see. So like I said, once again, I am giving you all the facts. Okay? So here we go. So I'm reading here right now, okay? So you guys could know where I'm at. Like I said, you do what you want with the information. It's up to you. I'm just giving you the knowledge. You do your own diligence. Okay. I am not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice. All right. So I'm giving you the information. I'm letting you know the situation that you are in. And then you decide what you want to do. Now, for anybody who wants to, request my services, my email is always in the link below. All right. I'm just here to give you the knowledge because I believe information should be free. All right. But if you want my services, then that's not free. Okay. So I'm reading here now. So you put them on the spot by asking, is this a constitutional court or an admiralty court? Let's use Georgia as an example. All these judges have to have what's called a dedimus potestatum. I'm going to repeat that again. Okay? I'm going to repeat that again. All these judges, and not just in Georgia, but I'm just using that as an example. Okay? All these judges have to have what's called a dedimus potestatum. Essentially, it is a contract that they have whereby they are taking and they are taking on the office of a quote unquote judge. Then they have to swear an oath to uphold the Constitution for the United States. Okay? Dedimus potestatum. Brothers and sisters, study the work, study the words. Okay? Now, what is dedimus potestatum? Dedimus is a writ that allows taking a testimony, usually by deposition. It is also known as a writ of dedimus potestatum. Dedimus potestatum is a Latin word or phrase meaning we have given power, a court order formerly used to commission a person to take action such as acknowledging a fine and appointing an attorney for representation in a court. Black's law. The second definition, we have given power in English practice, a writ or commission issuing out of chancery, empowering the persons named therein to perform certain acts as to administer oaths to defendants in chancery and take their answers to administer oaths of to justices of the peace. All right. So basically, this is essentially what it means. They will give them a certain power. They sign a contract. They have a contract, brothers and sisters. They have sworn an oath. All right. They have sworn an oath. And Black's Law, second edition. So before the Statute of Westminster, 1285, an attorney could not appear on behalf of a party without this writ. They changed the game. Make sure to check your state to see if the judges in your state have their dedimus potestatum. So brothers and sisters, I'm showing you ways to deal with these people. Make sure in your state, make sure you comprehend what it means. Dedimus potestatum. Know what it means. Okay? Know what it means. And make sure that in your state that these judges, they have their dedimus potestatum. So go to your Secretary of State. The Secretary of State is supposed to, by law, make sure that he or she provide that information for you. And check on all the judges and make sure that their oaths are also filed. Because a lot of times these judges, they don't have no oaths. They don't file no oaths. So therefore, they are breaking the law. All right? They have to file at least in the state of Georgia for sure. So make sure that in your state that they have the dedimus potestatum and that they have filed their oaths with the Secretary of State. All right? Now, let us proceed. You cannot allow a lawyer who is part of the Bar Association to have your best interests when their first obligation is to protect the fraud. Example, if you are playing Monopoly and you don't know the rules, then the person who knows the rules will always win. African Americans need to look at this as a game because these people always tell you it is not personal, it is just business. But it's not their children being taken from their homes. They are not the ones being taken to jail. So they could afford to tell you it's not personal, but to you it should be personal. Okay? because you are the ones that's always ending up in jail. You are the one that's always paying fines. All right? There is two constitutions, just in case you didn't know. There is the Constitution, which is a part of the corporation or the corporate constitution, and the Constitution for the United States of America. So they have to be precise when they say Constitution for the United States. Which one are they alluding to? Make sure you ask them, which Constitution are they upholding? Is it the Constitution of the United States or the Constitution for the United States? There's a difference. That's how they trick you, okay? All right then. Once the governor signs off on the dedimus potastamus for the judges, they have their office. It is filed with the Secretary of State. Once that is done, they are considered a quote-unquote judge. So when they go into a court, if there is any issues of constitution, that should be the first matter of priority. The judge administrator should take care of that. But they all have private contracts with private insurance companies, just like the sheriffs do. Look up O.C.G.15/16-4.1. I give you the link, okay? I give you the link. 2010 Georgia Code Title 15, Courts, Sheriff, Chapter 16, Sheriffs, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 15-16-4.1, Actions in violations of oath. Okay? Show you how the sheriffs will be violating their oath. So make sure you guys study that as well. All right? Study that as well. Without limiting the generality of the oath set out in the code, section 15-16-4, it shall be a violation of a sheriff oath of office for any sheriff to engage either directly or indirectly in a private security, private investigation, bail bonding, or record towing business in the county in which the sheriff has jurisdiction. As used in this code section, engaging indirectly in such business shall include the engagement in a prohibited business by the spouse or an unemancipated child of a sheriff. They are publicizing everything. All right, so they're letting you know about everything. They're letting you know, they're putting it on public record. But they know that the public doesn't study law. So most people are afraid to stand up for their rights. This is called the Willie Lynch legacy, where slaves were killed in horrific ways. Women, babies being cut out of their stomachs. Men tied to horses and bodies pulled apart. That created inherited fear to this present day. That was to attack the cellular, and that is trauma. They are using fear to rule. And if so-called African Americans and Black people cannot get over this fear, then they might as well just give it up. Okay? Let us proceed. The 6,000 years is up. These people, their 6,000 years is up, and they know this. So they have to control the people through fear. Brothers and sisters, they know their time is up. Okay? It is our time. They know this. All right? They know this. Reparations. When the subject of reparations comes up, Africans Americans will not get a dime. I'm going to repeat that. When the subject of reparation comes up, African Americans will not get a dime. I will explain, but first, here is a little background. This is an article that came out February 10th, 2006. It was printed in The Guardian, United Kingdom. Church apologizes for benefiting from the slave trade. Guilt must be admitted. Archbishop tells Synod. Pledge to fight against modern slavery. Stephen Bates, Religious Affairs Correspondent. Thou 9 February 2006, 10:15 Eastern Time. First published on Thursday, 9 February 2006, 10:15 Eastern Time. The following correction was printed in the Guardian's corrections and clarifications column. Friday, February 10th, 2006. The year 1807 saw the abolition of the trade in slaves in British Empire, and not, as we said it in error, the article below, the abolition of the institution itself. To clarify, slavery in Britain was made illegal in 1772. The colonial slave trade was ended in 1807. Slavery in the colonies was abolished in 1833. The Church of England last said sorry for the role it played in the 18th century in benefiting from slave labor in the Caribbean. Once again, for all those of you who want to call yourself Christians, going to their churches, guess what? It was the church that enslaved you. It was the church that enslaved our ancestors, okay, in the name of Christianity. And they're telling you right there, they're admitting it. They are telling you everything, okay? They are telling you everything. Now, the Church General Synod in London began its deliberations yesterday by commemorating its role behind the abolition of slavery in 1807, pledging members to continue campaigning against the modern slavery. But the debate was transformed at the request of Archbishop of Canterbury, when an apology being issued for the church complicity in sustaining and profiting hugely from the trade. So the church is admitting, they're telling you, yes, we profited from slavery. We played a huge role in slavery. Although the motion was passed unanimously, the synod stopped short of endorsing a specific call for financial or reparations. This was the Guardian, and I gave you the link for the Guardian for the UK. I also gave you the link for the New York Times, and now this is the BBC article. So I'm giving you many references just so that you could cross-reference what I'm telling you. I am showing you the facts. Okay? Now, church apologizes for slave trade. Dr. Roman Williams says the apology is necessary. The Church of England has voted to apologize for the descendants of victims of the slave trade. And an amendment recognizing the damage done to this enslaved was backed overwhelmingly by the General Synod. Debating the motion, Reverend Simon Besant from Pledgegate, Blackburn, described the church's involvement in the trade, saying, "We were at the heart of it." You hear that? The church is telling you they were at the heart of slavery. Brothers and sisters, they are telling you, the church, yes, the same churches that our people go sit down in Sunday school and Saturday school and Friday night prayer meeting, yes, the church is telling you that they were at the heart of the slavery. They made the biggest profits. But y'all still want to go to church and serve the slave master's God. I hear y'all though. Anyway, the amendment was supported by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, and Archbishop of York, John Sentamu. Dr. Williams said the apology was necessary. He said, "The body of Christ is not just a body that exists at any one time. It exists across history, and we therefore share the same and the sinfulness of our predecessors, and part of what we can do with them and for them in the body of Christ is prayer for acknowledgement of the failure that is part of us, not just of some distant them." Brandon Irons. During an emotional meeting of the church's governing body in London, Reverend Blessing explained the involvement of the Society for the Propagation of the Gospel in foreign parts in the slave trade. You hear that? Of the gospel, right? The organization owned by the Codrington Plantation in Barbados, where slaves had the word society branded on their backs with a red-hot iron. He said, "We were directly responsible for what happened." Brothers and sisters, the church is telling you for what happened in Barbados on the plantation, where they branded the slaves on their backs with the word society with a red-hot iron. Yes, we were directly responsible for what happened. Yes, the Church of Jesus Christ. Okay? Reverend Simon Besant, he added that when the emancipation of the slaves took place in 1833, compensation was paid not to the slaves, but to who? The owners. So, brothers and sisters, that is the reason why so-called black people and African Americans cannot get reparations, because they already paid reparations to who? The slave owners and not the slaves. Man, y'all better recognize what's going on, man. Y'all think this is a game, huh? Y'all think this is a game. But you see, these people you call your scholars and your master teachers, they know what's going on, but they're not going to tell you the truth. They got you thinking, oh, well, we're going to get reparations. No, you're not. Because guess what? Reparations was already paid to the slave owners. Ain't that a bitch? The slave owners got the reparations and not the slaves. I'm going to read it right here again. The church paid reparations. Okay? The emancipation, he added that when the emancipation of the slaves took place in 1833, compensation was paid not to the slaves, but to their owners. So the church already paid the dues. In one case, he said, the bishop of Exeter and 3 colleagues were paid nearly £13,000 in compensation for 665 slaves. Six was that £13,000 is roughly about, the pound I think is about maybe 3 times the amount. So roughly about 40 something, almost $50,000 in US money. He said, we were directly responsible for what happened. In the sense of inheriting our history, we can say we owned slaves. Yes, the church is telling you that. We branded slaves. That is why I believe we must actually recognize our history and offer an apology. So they are apologizing to the slaves, but yet still they paid reparations to the slave owners. Man, y'all better recognize what's going on. Okay? The synod passed a motion acknowledging the dehumanizing and shameful consequences of slavery. It comes ahead of commemorations of the 200th anniversary of the Slave Trade Act of 1807, which we marked next year. The debate heard from the descendants of the slave trade, including Reverend Neslin Starlin of Earlin, West London, who represents black churches. She told the synod that the commemorations of the 200th anniversary would revive painful issues and memories for the descendants. The apology comes after Dr. Williams was criticized in November for saying that missionaries sinned by imposing hymns, ancient and modern, on places such as Africa. Okay? So as you can see, the slave masters got paid, but not the slaves. They apologize, but no one is talking about compensation that is required under international law. The reason why African Americans will not get a dime is because they have to say, as descendants of slaves, they have to say exactly where they came from or have an idea. You see, that's the problem. Or what people just going around, oh, I'm African. But let me ask you, what part of Africa did you come from? You have to have an idea where your ancestors were taken for you to get reparations, brothers and sisters. So you're fighting a losing battle. They cannot identify what part of Africa. And another thing that cannot be ignored, there were those of us who were already here. Okay? Those of us who were taken in by Native American tribes who were us anyway, or the Indian tribes, or those of us already here who ran away or joined other indigenous tribes or assimilated into the so-called modernized American societies, but still kept their customs and traditions. So now you see the problem. They have no issue in giving reparations, but the question is, to who are they giving it to? Black is not a nationality or a race because you don't exist. Okay? Congress also apologized to American Indians and Native Americans 110th Congress. first session H.Res 3. And I gave y'all the link as well. And here we go. They say, to acknowledge a long history of official depredations and ill-conceived policies by the United States government regarding Indian tribes and offer an apology to all Native peoples on behalf of the United States. So the United States is acknowledging what they have done to our people in this House resolution. Okay? Whereas the ancestors of today's native people inhabited the land of the present day United States since what? Time immemorial. It means that we were here from time immemorial. We did not come from no damn Africa. And for thousands of years before the arrival of who? The European descendants. Okay? So they are telling you, yes, you were here before us. My brothers and sisters, wake up, man. I mean, come on, brothers and sisters. This thing is public knowledge. It's right in your face. It's right in your face. So as you can see, they are admitting to the fact that we were already here before the inception of Europeans. I am not the one saying this, brothers and sisters. No, you don't have to believe me. This is the 110th Congress, first session, Joint Resolution 3 is saying to acknowledge a long history of official depredations and all inconceived policies by the United States government regarding Indian tribes and offer an apology to all natives, people on behalf of the United States. So therefore, can American Indians get reparations? Yes. All you have to do now is follow your trail, okay? Show that your people are Indians, and now you could put in your reparations. But black people cannot get reparations. African Americans cannot get reparations because guess what? They cannot prove what part of Africa they came from. Brothers and sisters, are you seeing where I'm going with this? Huh? Are you seeing where I'm going with this? Okay? So, why are they apologizing? Because under international law, they have raped, pillage, robbed, genocide, apartheid, used chemical warfare, bio warfare via smallpox, in blankets. All this is being publicized as to what they have done. Therefore, from a commercial standpoint, that is damage. Our children who came after us, they are subject to what occurred before. And since nothing has changed, they are still victims. It is not decreasing in the claims against the United States corporation government. The claims are actually increasing. So for them to make that specification of Native American and Indian tribes, they already know that they are foreign to our land. That is their confession. We just saw that in the resolution. So brothers and sisters, that's how you prove they have no jurisdiction over you. I am giving you all the tools that you need to defeat the beast. All right? I hope y'all getting this. I really do. Hope that you are getting this. All right? Now, that is why the United States is described in Title 28 U.SC, Section 3002, Paragraph 15, as what? A federal corporation. Okay? A federal corporation. But you know what? I'm going to click on that link just because. Even if it's going to take me out of the lecture for a minute, it's okay. I will come back. I will come back. I really want to go show you that in the UFC codes, in their own codes. Okay? In their own codes. All right, guys, do me a favor. If this individual is disrupting, all right, I have moderators on here that could block that person, okay? If that person is disrupting the lecture, they are being a disagreeable, please just block them, okay? Block them. It's that simple. All right, so here we go. I had to go into the Legal Information Institute, and that's the U.S code, Title 28. All right, and I'm going to section 302. Let us go down to 15. They are telling you, brothers and sisters, they are telling you, this is public knowledge. Here we go. United States means what? A federal corporation, right here. Okay, a federal corporation. I'm showing it to you right there in their own codes. In their own codes. United States means what? A federal corporation. So therefore, when you call yourself a United States citizen, you are a citizen of a corporation. Okay? Man, my brothers and sisters, people perish for the lack of knowledge. And that's a fact. You perish for the lack of knowledge. Okay? Let me just go here real quick. Go to home. All right. Give me a second. I will definitely proceed in a second. I have the super chat where you could actually give a donation, but somebody just text me and asked me, you know, how can they donate? Because, you know, they love the lecture. I'm doing a great job. So let me just get that information for them, copy the link, and I'm going to put it below so that you guys could have it. Okay, no, that's not where I'm at. Lesson. Here we go. So I'm going to put that in the link for you guys below. Here you go. So this is my Cash App. Somebody wanted to know how can they donate. So I just gave it to you. So let us continue. All right. Let us continue. Let us proceed. I think I was down to page 4, if I'm not mistaken. But I just have to go show you. I had to take you out of the lecture for a minute. Well, not the lecture, but out of the PDF, and literally take you to, you know, the US code to show you in their own language. They are telling you that the United States is a corporation. All right. It is not me saying that. All right. I'm not making this up. I am not making it up. Where we at? Let's come here. Yep. Here we are. Back to where we just left off. Okay. Let me make that a little bigger. Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to continue. All right. Here we go. I'm reading from the top of the page. Let me just make sure that let me drink a little water here. Okay, so here we go. You have to think of it this way. Think of it as Avatar. When the company went to the planet, took them 5 years, I think it was 6 years, but around 5 or 6 years to get there, and they just eventually took over. It is the same thing. They are acknowledging that they're acknowledging what is called accountability. When they say we want government accountability, anybody can count. All right, brothers and sisters. Now, I want y'all to really pay attention to what I'm saying right now, because this is essential. This is very, very, very important. I mean, the entire thing is, but you have to pay attention to the words and the trickery that they use. However, when you start saying, okay, I'm going to read from the top again. Think of it as Avatar. When the company went to the planet, took them, I think, 5 or 6 years. I think it was 6, but to get there, and they just eventually took over. It's the same thing. They are acknowledging that what is called accountability. When they say we want government accountability, anybody can count. What is a count? Break down the word a count. What is a count? A count is a vampire. Dracula count. We want the government to be accountable. They are already sucking people's blood and sucking them dry. So therefore, they are already a count. They're already accountable. However, when you start saying that word liability, the government is a liable, that comes into compensation and restitution, but you can give restitution and but you cannot give. It was supposed to be, but you cannot give. So I have a lot of updating to do. I apologize. I will make sure I do the edits before I put it in the link. But you cannot give restitution and compensation to African Americans because they don't know what tribe or what part of Africa, if they believe the propaganda that all so-called black people came from Africa, and that isn't true. Okay, so the government is saying, oh yes, we are going to be accountable. Once again, what is account? Account is a vampire. So they're letting you know, yes, we are going to suck your blood. We're already doing that. We are sucking you dry. However, we need to hold them liable because they're telling lies. Okay, they're telling lies. We have to make sure that this gets into the mainstream because that is misleading and hurting our children because they think that they're only connecting to this land is from across the seas, and that is not for everybody. In other words, not all so-called black people came from Africa. Many of us were already here. At least 90% of us were already here. All right. How can our people get reparations on a mass scale? All right. First thing, now I'm going to give you some solutions, all right, to start getting your affairs in order. All right. Now, reparations, restoration is the same thing in essence. All right. For somebody who just asked, you will not get it under being black or African American. That's the point I'm trying to make. It doesn't mean that indigenous people can't get it. You see, that's where I'm going with this, family. That's where I'm going with this. All right. All right. So here we go. How can our people get reparations on a mass scale? First thing, they need to stop calling themselves African Americans and blacks. That plays into the programming that we all were kidnapped from Africa and brought as slaves. When the truth is there are well-documented research and studies that confirms there were dark-skinned or so-called black people here before Europeans came here. So when you keep calling yourself African American, you are taking the liability away from them, and you lack international remedy and recourse. Okay? If your family was Creek, Choctaw, Anion-Wea slash Cherokee, Arawak, Yamasee, Washita, Seminole, etc., then say so. Okay, say so. Because that's who you are. Even though you don't fit the promoted Hollywood stereotype of what an Indian looks like, you start using that. Because the programming African Americans, what is supposed to be the programming of African Americans, are constantly hit with. All they ever say is, I am black or African American, and when they are asked what part, they are lost. Therefore, you will not get reparations because you have to know where you were taken from to even get a dime. In the worst case scenario, even if you go back to the country in Africa and say, hey, I trace my lineage back to this tribe or country, can I get citizenship or compensation? But they already paid the slaveholders and not the slaves. So either way, you were screwed. So in essence, what am I saying? Even if you were able to go to Africa and tell them, hey, you know what? I could prove that I came from that tribe. I want reparations. You're not going to get reparations because the slave masters already got paid, not the slaves. Okay? So this is the predicament that so-called black people and African Americans are in. You feel me? Just so y'all know. The first thing is to stop using the term black and African American. It keeps you as a domestic chattel property by using that. When you start using your indigenous tribes that your family was from, that puts you into international law. Once you bring that into international law, there are treaties and conventions not even the United States government can ignore, because there is an executive order signed by William J. Clinton, Executive Order 13107, 13107, which is the implementation of human rights treaties. And I gave you the link. Okay? Brothers and sisters, I am giving you the tools. All right? I am giving you the tools. Let's take a look at congressional records. A3220, statement of Carl B. Rex, and I gave you the link. And let's go for the record. And that's Carl B. Rex. I appear in favor of the amendments. Congress is no longer bound by its constitutional system of delegated powers. Its only test is under the obligatory power to promote human rights in these fields of endeavor: civil, political, economic, social, and cultural. These are found in Articles 55 and 56 of the Charter of the United Nations, a ratified and approved treaty. They are being promoted in all parts of the world by the United Nations. See United Nations Participation Act of 1945, signed by President Harry S. Truman, with the advice and consent of the U.S. Senate, United Nations Resolution 1760. Congress may now legislate as an uninhabited body with no shackles of delegated powers under the Constitution. Our entire system of a government of delegated powers of Congress has been changed to a system of undelegated powers without amendment by the people of the United States. In other words, they have gone rogue. The authority for these statements is found in a volume entitled Constitution of the United States of America, annotated, issued in 1953, prepared under the direction of Judiciary Committee of the Senate of the United States and under the chairmanship of Professor Edward S. Cohen of Princeton, aided by the legal staff of the Library of Congress. This is the conclusion on page 427 of the annotations. In a word, treaty power cannot purport to amend the Constitution by adding to the list of Congress enumerated powers, but having acted, the consequence and the only question that can be raised as to such measures will be whether they are necessary and proper measures for the carrying of treaty in question into operation. It will be noted that one of the principal cases cited is that of the migratory bird case. These conclusions are those also of committee of the New York State Bar Association, of which former Attorney General Michel and Mr. John W. Davis were prominent members. Now, for some practical illustration of new form powers and on the treaties of what Congress may do. Okay, give me a second here. Give me a quick second. I will continue. All right. It says, 1, it may enact a comprehensive education bill providing for education in any state which does not provide it. In fact, they may take over all public education now provided by states and municipalities. 2, if it may enact a prohibition act without an amendment of the Constitution. 3, it may enact a uniform divorce act. 4, it may take over all social and welfare services rendered by or through the states or their agencies. 5, it may take over all commerce, all utility rates and service, all labor. The list may be multiplied extensively at your will. The new test of constitutionality will apply to all legislation by Congress since 1945, which deals with any of the 5 fields of endeavor. Any judge deciding on the validity of legislation must have 2 books before him, one for the Constitution of the United States and the other Charter of the United States. So a judge is supposed to have 2 books in front of him, one for the Constitution of the United States, all right, and one for the Charter of the United Nations. If he does not find authority for the act in the Constitution, he will find it in the Charter. That is the exact situation in which Justice Holmes found himself and the other members of the Supreme Court when they decided the migratory bird case. The authority was not found in the Constitution. It was found in the treaty with Great Britain. The question to be answered is this: under which form of government do the people of the United States prefer to live? Manifestly, we cannot operate under both. Senators, the people of the United States have given up their sons. They have given up billions of their substance. They should note they should not be the only nation in the world to give up their form of government, the wonder of the world, to discharge their obligations to the people of the world. Source: Congressional Records, page A3220. Statement of Carl B. Rex of Milwaukee, former president of the American Bar Association, entered into the House record by the Honorable Lawrence H. Smith of Wisconsin on May 11th, 1955. That is to confirm that they are not following constitutional law anymore. They are following international law. You hear that? So therefore, even if they have taken away your constitutional rights, you could still hold them liable under international law. So therefore, you cannot call yourself an African American or black, because that makes you domestic charter, domestic slaves. But when you become who you truly are, indigenous, then it becomes international affairs. Okay? They continue with this domestic, I am a U.S. citizen crap. It will not do anything for them. And they're talking about these so-called United States citizens. Reason being, the United States, Canada, and Mexico has been exported in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So they have no titles to anything. And that is confirmed by House Resolution 194 and House Joint Resolution 3 that I read earlier. The second thing you have to do is this: do your family history project, detailing your family lineage. Go see your grandmother, your uncles, your grandfather, etc., and ask about your tribes. What tribes did they come from? All right, do some research on your family. And also a statutory declaration. Now, if you don't know what that is, then you could do some research on that. And if you don't know how to do it, then you could seek somebody to request their services so they could do it for you. All right, or guide you through it. Upon which you will send that to the governor and eventually the president, telling this is who you are. That's how you start correcting your standing, your political standing in your land, not your political status. Because when you deal with status, you're dealing with corporations. But when you're dealing with standing, you are talking about standing on the land. All right? You have the right to do that in accord with the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. So go download the PDF on Google for free. Read it and digest it. And that is what you have to do. I also put the link right here for you for UNDRIP, United Nations Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous People. Now, claiming your indigenous aboriginal standing. All right? If you are from the so-called West Indies or the Caribbean or the mainland, it doesn't matter where you're from. If you are West Indian and you have some trouble with records, because a lot of times in the Caribbean, we didn't have a lot of records, so we had to go with oral history, all right? Or finding it hard to prove that you are American Aborigine or American Indian, get the names of your grandparents' birth certificate. If they are not alive, get their death certificate, get marriage certificates, etc., and work your way back. In other words, this is one of the ways that you could start tracing your lineage. Look at birth certificates, death certificates, and marriage certificates. So for instance, get your mother's birth certificate. See who her mother and father is. Go get their mother and father birth certificates and go back and back until you're able to go as far back as you can. That is a way of tracing your lineage. It is not as difficult as you think. And when you go to the registrar, it is actually law. They, by right, it's lawful rights. They have a right to give you the birth certificates of everybody who came before you that's in your family, so that you could trace your ancestry. All right? For those purposes, they are allowed to give it to you. Now, if that is still difficult, then do oral records and write it all down. So now what you could do, you could write your oral history. your oral records. Well, you know what? This is what my grandmother told me. That was her name. That was her mother's name. That's what my grandfather told me. And you do a storyboard, okay? And from the oral history, you write all that down. And then you could present that, okay? You could present that as part of the process of updating your political standing, okay? By claiming your indigenous or aboriginal standing. However, if you don't, again, I have to do some editing. If you don't get death records, certificates, or marriage certificates, then you can start compiling these instruments. Keep in mind that the older generation may not want to talk about that because of fear and the painful thoughts of what happened in the past. That's why a lot of the elder folks, they refuse to talk about it because it's too painful and they're still afraid. Okay? Now I am reading right here now. From here, this is where I'm reading. So let me highlight this, take a water break so you guys can see where I'm at. Okay. So where I just highlighted, that's where I'm going to start reading. Okay. You can also go to the Mormon Church. They have the world's largest database of historical records, death, birth, and marriage records. I'm going to repeat that. You could also go to a Mormon church, all right, and ask them where they have their libraries. Because the Mormon church, they have the largest database of historical records on death, birth, and marriage records. And they will do it to you. They will do it for free because I have done it. Okay? They will sit there with you for hours and they will guide you through it. All right? So that's another way to go about doing that. The Mormon church, and go to one of their libraries or one of their institutions because they have the world's largest database in death records, birth certificates, and marriage certificates. Now, so if you are from the West Indies and you are having problems, you can do that. Don't be afraid. Notice the word West Indies, Indians from the West. You can order the microfilm and do your research in the library. If you are from the mainland, which is called the United States, you get your certificate of live birth, which is evidence of trafficking and human cargo. Remember, the church apologized for the benefit from the slave trade, but they never made any compensation to any of the countries they took our ancestors from, whether it was from Africa or right here in the Americas. The slave trade was a triangle, meaning the originals from all over the Americas and sending them from North, South, and Central America. If they couldn't kill the men, they would imprison them and send them to different parts of the Americas and then rape the women. Then the women would give birth to half-bloods. The French trappers knew this, and that's how their children would have title to the land. So you have to realize the game, all right? The French trappers knew that if they got Aboriginal women pregnant, then their children would have titles to the land. So you have to peep the game. Again, that is a form of genocide, apartheid, and rape. So all that is part of our claim, all right? They even sent some Aboriginals to England, Europe, and even Africa. No different from commerce, buying goods from one place, bought again and sold again. Whether you like it or not, it is all business. Until African Americans or so-called black people come to the realization and the truth, they will not be able to move forward and get anything, just facts over feelings. With this information, you don't have to believe anything that I said. I provided the documentation, and one thing I always tell y'all, documentation beat conversation. They made the information public because they know people are brain dead and will see the truth and still ignore it. They know that so-called African Americans and blacks are programmed, as well as the general public walking around as robots, sheep being led to the slaughterhouse. Next thing is the statutory declaration. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, like I said, do some research on it. And if you don't know how to do it, you know, you could get somebody, request their services, and they could assist you. All right. Now, do a UCC1 financial statement. If you don't know what that is, once again, somebody could assist you with that. My email is in the link below. All right. The birth certificate, driver's license, etc., those are called adhesive contracts, meaning they are only signed by one person. So that means it was done in fraud. That means it is voidable. The birth certificate registration was signed by the mother. The mother became an informant for the government / state by admitting that she gave birth to this child, and she essentially sold the child to the state. And that is why child care services can come take the state, which is your child, because the parents don't own them. The child does not belong to the parent. This is another fact, and that's why it is hard for African Americans or Black people to get this grasp. This is because they subconsciously know that they never got out of bondage, just moved to another area on the plantation. We have to correct our standing, as in standing on the land, not status, because status deals with corporations. Now, when it comes to taxes, a lot of people always talk about taxes. All right? People always talk about taxes. Taxes, now when I say use the UCC1 form and do your statement, it doesn't mean that you're using their form. It is the format that you are using. In law, you could use the format. All right? You could use the format because that's what it's there for. So you are not using their document. You are using the format. All right? That's what it means. Taxes, IRS, United States corporations, etc. It's like monopoly. For those of you who know the rules of monopoly, the rules for real estate is you have to own 3 properties before you can put any houses or hotels on the board. Turtle Island / Egypt of the West, Atlantis, Mulan, Mexam, etc. From Alaska all the way down to Argentina, that's our home. Okay, that's our land. What they have done is they have created an overlay and laid this overlay on top of the land. And the land is acting as the board in the monopoly game. So when the issue of income tax comes up and filing, that has nothing to do with your indigenous standing insofar as the social security number is concerned, because that is considered a dissident. All right? A dissident, meaning that whatever child was born is dead. So brothers and sisters, when you claim to be what's on the social security number and the birth certificate, you are dead. So you are looked upon as a trustee that's responsible to pay the bill of the trust, which is the name on the social security number when they send you the W2, the W4, and the 1040. Okay? You are becoming the trust when you say that's you. So now you are responsible to pay the debt, a debt that could never be paid. However, in your indigenous standing, that doesn't apply to you. The name on the social security number is a corporation. It is a business. That name is spelled in all capital letters. That isn't you. The United States corporation issued a social security number, which is an insurance policy on that name. Remember, your mother gave birth to you. She signed the certificate of live birth as an informant. She was working inadvertently with and for the government by admitting to them that she gave birth to this child. Therefore, by doing that, the state steps in, and now the child is a ward of the state. The state turns around and takes that certificate, which is an instrument, puts it on the stock market and sells it, and then it's bought, it's sold and traded, and there is people that have an investment in you. Of course, they're not going to tell you this, because if they tell you, you would know it's fraud. The contract would be null and void. All the money they are making internationally, they would have to compensate you for that. So they don't want you to know it's a fraud. You feel me? Man, of course, Haiti is part of Turtle Island. Of course, why do you think they're putting so much pressure on Haiti? All right. One of the things you have to stop doing is stop looking at all the identifications you get from the state as you. It's not you. It's a trust. It's a vessel. If you get a card from a Sam's Club, a Macy's card, a Sears card, a Target card, etc., that is not you. The United States is DC, Guam, Puerto Rico, all the military bases, enclave, etc. The thing is, if you say that you are a citizen when you fill out the information for the social security number, or when you do your taxes, you are saying that you are resident of DC, but you are living out in the state. Keep in mind, the United States is it's foreign in relation to the so-called 50 states of the Union. Why do you think all 50 states after Barack got elected, they wanted to cede from the United States? The lawyers knows this. The attorneys knows this. The so-called judges know that. They are not idiots, but they have to go along with the fraud if they want to keep making a living. All right? They are hustling you. Let us proceed. So when you are dealing with the tax department, the first thing you have to claim is your indigenous standing. For example, if you don't claim your indigenous standing with your tax issue, it's a little more detailed for you to deal with because of the fact of the particular situation that African Americans and Black people are in. Being that African Americans have no citizenship to the United States of America. They are not Americans, which means that they are African, that any African American that works for any branches of the federal government, all their oaths are false. So if you're an African American or you are Black and you work for the federal government, it means that you took an oath that is false, because you could never be a citizen of the United States. I don't even know if they are aware working for the federal government. All right? Because no African American can be a citizen of the United States. And that is the Dred Scott case. The Dred Scott case clearly pointed that out. All right? And that was in 1857, and it has never been overturned. So my brothers and sisters, if you're working for the federal government and you call yourself an African American or Black, guess what? Your oath is null and void, because you are not a citizen. You could never be a citizen. No foreigner, that is what you would be looked upon from their viewpoint. You can't swear to allegiance to uphold the Constitution for the United States of America, because you have to be an Aboriginal American Indian, Native, Indigenous. And if so are not, you cannot do it. If you are not, then you cannot do it. Okay? Your oath is null and void, because you are Black, you're an African American. You feel me? The IRS has nothing to do with the government, and taxes are going over to Europe. And just so you know, the Queen of England is a fraud. Is a fraud queen, and I've told y'all that before. And that has been proven in Regina versus Ja, and I put the link for you guys to read below. She is the one that's getting your tax money, not her. Well, that's supposed to be not her directly. Again, I'm going to do my edits. But it's going back to the Crown of England. That is extortion. Keep in mind that everything that they give you, it's not you. It's all a lie. It's an illusion. They just want you to answer to it so they can extort your energy and money out of you. Okay? Google this court case. The gentleman won his case. I gave y'all a link. Let's take a look at Canada, because it ties into the conversation. Not sure if you already know this, but Canada is a colony, and it was the only colony admitted into the Union with the United States of America. And that can be found on the 1778 Articles of Confederation, in Article 11, where Canada was the only colony admitted into the Union, And Canada, like the United States, are still colonies of Great Britain. And I give you all the link. So for those of you who don't know, Canada is part of the United States. Okay? Brothers and sisters, man, these people are playing some games with y'all. And y'all don't realize that. Federal court case, T. That's a federal court case in Canada. T1396-12 from the Mohawk Nation News link. And I give y'all the link. On October 5th, 2012, Judge Alto confirmed that their royal proclamation supersedes all admiralty statutes, statutory law and rules. Then he told us they have no jurisdiction or will to respect it. He clearly violated his oath to the Queen, making him guilty of high treason. The penalty is pardon me. The penalty is death, which we did not ask for. The last thing the Toka Ketuke of Katenekota told Judge Alto was, "You be careful of your decision. If you break a royal proclamation, you will be guilty of high treason." Now he is Taho Ketote of Kanekata v. the Queen, and that's T-1396-12. The royal proclamation confirms the Goswenta Two-Row Agreement, the supreme law of Anoa Regi, Great Turtle Island. The 1701 agreement, which the French and the English are the only laws that give the newcomers the right to live on our land. They broke these and now illegally reside here. According to the Royal Proclamation 1784, their subjects must respect the Goswenta in all matters. End. So in short, the shareholders of the Foreign Corporation of Canada have set up their Admiralty Court system to keep what has been stolen from us. The courts make and manipulate its rules to make profits for the shareholders. For them, the Royal Proclamation exists, but they don't have to follow. They don't have to follow it if they don't want to. So the issue of taxes, basically the usage of land and taxes on income. However, the problem is the Federal Reserve is private and has nothing to do with government. They have the contract to print the fiat US dollar. Since all these outstanding treaties that the United States and Canada government have signed off on, they have not honored any of them. By a commercial and a contractual standpoint, they are what's called commercial dishonor. There is remedy and recourse through commercial means, not through the courts, because we have already proved that there is no courts in the 1789 and no judiciary since 1789. Furthermore, as they call it, none of these judges have a valid oath of office. They only have an oath whether it's it's the Law Society of Canada, Alberta Bar Association, Canadian Bar Association. They all have oaths to Elizabeth, which is the Queen. All right? That's who they have their oath to. They don't have an oath of office because that automatically puts them in a conflict of interest, because they cannot say on one hand they have an oath to the Queen and then sit on the matter that involves her and companies are doing business in her name. Example, Her Majesty the Queen in Rights of Canada. I brought that up because of the correlation. Why is that significant? The significance is the fact that Obama created the world's first superstate, and that was February 11th of 2011. Notice that was a month after African Americans were put back into slavery. Y'all think Obama was your president? But anyway, so the Prime Minister of Canada, the corporation, turned around and sold the sovereignty of Canada to the United States. All right, and I just gave y'all the link to prove that. That was also in the Toronto Star. I prove it again. So the United States bought Canada, for those of you who didn't know. What's happening is all the indigenous peoples of the Americas, especially Turtle Island, North America, are waking up, claiming indigenous heritage. And this is commercial, and this commercial corporate system in Canada that is fraudulent and corrupt and has to be wiped out. There is a book, everyone. There is a book called Indians of the Americas. And in the book, everybody had a share in the land prior to pale Europeans coming here. Land was shared by everyone. It wasn't one person who owned it. Everyone had a stake in the land. They all worked together. What happened was when the Spanish came over with Hernando Cortez, they were the first ones to privatize land. Then they started breaking up lands into individual plots and give each person the individual plot. This is where your divide and conquer comes into play. So by them privatizing the land in the even they wanted to go after someone, in the event that they wanted to go after someone, they can naturalize or neutralize that person by taking their land away. So from generation to generation, indigenous people lost the culture of working and sharing together. Here's another thing. It's an agreement between Dick's Queen Victoria, the year 1665, on the bargain of 1835, and this is what Queen Victoria wrote. New King Chief of Canada, I am writing to you. We have to change the rules of whites. We will put head office in Canada on the Indian Act and superintendent on provincial rules. Lawyer for your business, doctor, Indian affairs. And this is on the Indian Act and Rules of Canada. In the year of 1820, we sent Simpson to control the company. In the year 1821, we sued Hudson for selling your goods. So I am renewing the treaty and money, $120 and $20 a year and tax free. The rules of the Indian Act of Canada, when the year is due, the superintendent will give you your money tax free. All right. Now you will have to make township. The whites will have to pay you for everything you have. You have make head township in Canada. Have reservations to keep the whites off your reservation and free Indian navigation. So in other words, what they're saying that the whites were the ones who were supposed to pay the taxes, and we were supposed to travel the land for free. Free navigation, free Indian navigation. All right. Free grass for settlers and timber of 100 acres. We leave it as you navigate rights if you are on the boat. It's free traveling all over Canada. Any place you go. If you want a house in Canada, you go to the superintendent, put in your order, and he will see that it is built. It will cost you nothing. They will pay for it. I will put a warden in to mind your game. Wherever your animal will make its tracks in Canada, you can follow it until you get it. If the whites want your animals, they have to pay for it with a license. Okay, so therefore, though it was supposed to be the whites, okay, that was supposed to have the license. So all of the so-called whites, that is. All right. If you work for a white man, they cannot garnish your wages. All right. But aren't they garnishing your wages today? All right, then. The whites have to pay what? Taxes. The whites have to pay taxes, not you. All foreigners have to pay taxes, not you, because you are indigenous. Man, like I said, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. You are entitled to free 3% on the taxes and 3% on the timber and $3 stumpage beside and 5% on the mines. And if you have money in the bank, it is 5%. Also, game money is yours. If the whites crowd you, you are to go to the superintendent and put your complaint, and he will take it up to the lawyer and he will be prosecuted. So in other words, we were supposed to be getting a cut from these taxes. We were supposed to be getting a cut from all stumpage. We were supposed to be getting a 5% on all the mines. If we put in our money in the bank, we're supposed to get 5%. The bargain is made, and I am sending you a scroll as good as gold. As long as there is an Indian in the country from generation to generation, King Chief brother, I am telling you, a nephew is born, my son. I am your sister, Queen Victoria. Forever, forever this bargain we made between you and I will stand as long as there is water in the lakes and run in the rivers and creeks, and the green grass grows. This bargain, the ninth in the year 1665 comes the year 1835, is good as long as the sun and moon shines. It cannot change. And this bargain is for the King Chief of Canada from Queen Victoria. So we have to go back to our indigenous standing, brothers and sisters. We cannot call ourselves blacks and African Americans, United States citizens, citizens of the United States. They have to claim their proper standing, period. Period. What is a treaty? What is a treaty number or numbered treaty? And why do government institutions ask for it? I'm breaking this down for y'all today. A numbered treaty or numbered treaties or post-confederation treaties are a series of 11 treaties signed between the First Nations, one of 3 groups of indigenous peoples in Canada, and the reigning monarch of Canada, Victoria, Edward VII, or George V, from 1871 to 1921. It's because all goes through the Bureau of Indian Affairs. But the Bureau is controlled by the United States government, or in the case of Canada, Canada Indian Affairs, which is now called Northern Aboriginal Indian Affairs, and that goes to the government. The government is the one that goes, that's going to be dispensing of the monies. So they want to make sure whoever that is coming to them are able to meet their own criteria. Everyone is screaming, you have to be federally recognized. Yes, they will give you monies, land, etc. to be self-sustained, but they want to give you a telephone book with all these demands to prove who you are. When someone who looks so-called white can say they are Cherokee and no one will question them. However, when it comes to us, they say, no, we can't be Indians because I guess we don't look like the Hollywood stereotype of Indians. So that's why they want the treaty numbers and things of that sort. All they want us for is to use us for our energy and to make money. However, once we start claiming our indigenous standings, compensation and restitution is required by international law. Now we have to start kicking out monies. They have to start kicking out monies, because part of our claim will be we had our life, our land, and our families, and that was taken away from us. We want to come back together, so you got to pay us. Brothers and sisters, I gave y'all all the resolutions when they admit to what they did to us. Man, I hope y'all getting this, because I'm giving y'all the doorway to the gold. That will not happen unless African Americans and so-called black people stop calling themselves that. We are not black. Most of us in the Americas are copper, brown, chocolate, etc. Even in India, where there are people who are way darker than us and refuse to call themselves black, they say they are brown. Why? Because black has the English connotation evil, dirty, and cursed. Now, I hope you guys are getting this. Before I continue, let me just go back to the feed real quick. Let me make sure everybody's cool, everybody's with me. I know I've been on here for a minute. Hey, how we doing? How we doing, guys? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing, brothers and sisters? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Just making sure we good, man. Like I said, we've been going in for a minute. Let me see how long we've been on here. We've been on here for over 3 hours. So, we almost done. We got some more things to go over. But essentially, I'm showing you guys, all right, that all these people that's telling you about black people and African Americans getting reparations it's not gonna happen. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your breath, and I'm showing you all the proof. Okay? You have to get back into your indigenous standing. And that is the only way. And I showed you all the resolutions to show you that they admitted to what they are apologizing, showing you what they have done. So now that you have apologized, now it's time to what? It is time to pay. Okay? It is time to pay. And that's the only way we're going to get restitution, is when we get back into our indigenous standing. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Okay? You're wasting your time. So I don't care what any of those conscious people tell you. I don't care what any so-called doctors tell you. If you're an African American in America or you're black in America, you don't exist. All right? So once again, let me just make my disclaimer. I am not calling Saneter out. I am not calling Pharaoh out. I'm not calling Boyce Watkins out. Okay? I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just making this lecture so that they would take a note. If you don't know the information, well, guess what? Chief Kalanago is presenting you with the information, the facts. So now that you know the facts and you know the truth, and you know black people don't exist in the Americas, at least they don't have no rights, are you going to continue to call the people black? Are you going to continue to call them African American? And now that I'm showing you the documents, where the congressional records, they are telling you that these people that are so-called black, they were already here. Are you going to continue to tell them that all of them are from Africa? So now it is up to you, my brothers and sisters, the subscribers, the public, to hold them accountable and call them out for deceiving you. Because if after all this information and all this proof, people want to continue to call you black and African American, then they got to be agents. No, I'm not saying that they are. So please do not edit this video and say Chief Kalanago was calling people agents. I never said that. Okay? I said after all the proof, and they could validate the proof and see that it's a fact, and they want to continue calling you black and African American, they are working for the colonizers. Okay? They are working against you. They are working to keep you in slavery, and they're getting paid. They are no different from these damn pastors. Okay? No different. Like I said, it's facts over feelings. It's about time we hold these people accountable. Okay? Accountable. Because all they want to do is just, oh, black power, black this, oh, black fam. No, black don't exist. You are dead in law. Okay? And you will continue to perish if you keep calling yourself black on this American land. And that's a fact. I don't care what nobody say. So keep living the illusion. Keep living it. Y'all gonna learn the hard way. Anyway, let me continue. I just wanted to come and show my fish real quick because you know what? This is not a game to me. All right, let us continue with this. Here we go. We're almost done. Now, I had to touch a little bit about the Moors. Okay? Like I tell people before, I ain't got nothing against Moors. The only problem, because I've learned a lot from Moors. As a matter of fact, the first person that did that video that I'm literally going over right now, and I just did some more extensive research, he considered himself a Moor. So I give him respect for the information. All right? But what you have to realize is that Moors, it's a fact. Moors, and even with him, he clearly, it made me smile and laugh because one of the people asked about Moors, and he said that these Moors are confused. They're calling themselves Moors, but they don't know what it means. But they're trying to tell everybody that we are Moors. We are not Moors. Moors are from Africa. Okay? And he did speak the truth, so I give him the respect for that. All right, I give him the respect for that, and I could give him his props, and that was Chief Nanya. I got to give him his props for that, regardless of what, if me and him had any type of friction before in the past or whatever. You got to give Jack his jacket, okay? And I respect him for that. He spoke the truth. I only respect truth. That's what I respect. So now we're going to talk about Moors and the Treaty of Peace. When you do extensive research and you get the facts, you will see that Moor is a term that was used to describe anybody from Africa. And it didn't make a difference what part of Africa you came from. They came here to the Americas and also called us Moors because of our complexion, not because we are Africans. The problem with claiming to be a Moor, you still have to say what tribe you came from. Moor is not a tribe. No difference in saying African American or black. And that's what a lot of these Moors are not telling you. They want to tell you, oh, we are Moors and this is a Mexum and this is, you know, Morocco. But when they do their paperwork, they're claiming indigenous and they're calling out specific tribes, but they're not telling people that. You feel me? So I question the motives of these people, because when you do your paperwork, and trust me, I have seen a lot of their paperworks, and in their paperwork, they claim to be indigenous, but they don't tell the general public that. And to me, that's very dishonorable. That's being dishonest. Okay? Just to have people going around calling themselves Moors is very dishonest, because Moor is not a tribe. Okay? It is not a tribe. And that brother spoke the truth. And I got to give him his props. I got to give him his props, because he acknowledges himself as a Moor. The problem with claiming to be a Moor, you still have to say that what tribe you come from. Moor is not a tribe. No different in saying African American or black. What is your connection to this land? Most people who call themselves Moors here don't speak Arabic, Hebrew, etc. They only speak English. English is an Indo-Aryan language from Sanskrit. So how can these Moors talk about claiming their heritage and don't know where they are from? Under the Treaty of 1786, which was a year before 1787 Constitution of the United States of America came into play. 1786 was when the Constitution was done. The United States went over to Morocco to get 20 million of gold because the United States was not recognized internationally. Read more on Morocco and the United States trade-ins. And I put that link there for you guys. So all you have to do is copy the link. Okay? Copy the link. And what you do is, or I didn't want to go there, but I'm just going to show you that the link is a clickable link. So it's going to take you into a book and it's going to give you all the information, because like I said, I just don't like to talk about things. I like to prove and give the facts as to everything that I talk about. Okay? Just so y'all know. So let me just go back all the way back down. Okay. Here we are. Let us go down, go down, go down. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? Okay, here we are. Here we are. All right, good. So, you know, I put a link so you could go read it for yourself. Read it for yourself. I don't want nobody to say I'm making anything up. Moors cannot be following a philosophy of 1928 that has no bearings now when all constitutional rights are suspended. What they need to do, if they have any grievances with the United States, they need to notify the president of France, because Morocco is still a French protectorate. And they have to read that 1783 Treaty of Versailles, because the King of England was also the King of England was also the King of France. That's what it was supposed to be. Once again, I got to update that. So brothers and sisters, once again, when they're telling you this is Morocco, no, this is not Morocco. Morocco is under the protectorate of France. So when you call yourself a Moor, you're not just calling yourself a subject of Morocco, but you're also calling yourself a subject of France. All right? Brothers and sisters, man, peep the game. Don't fall for this okie doke. So I also put the Treaty of Versailles here for you. You could click it and proof. All right, Morocco is a French protectorate. I put all that in the lecture. All right? This is not to down my Moorish brothers and sisters, but the truth will set you free. Okay? So let your Moor friends know, because they are in the same boat as African Americans and blacks for the most part. Point is, you have to claim your indigenous standing. Black, African American, and just Moor is not going to do anything for you. Whatever tribe you were affiliated with, why? Because internationally, blacks are dead. Blacks is a dead race, dead in law, same as African Americans. The truth is, the government of Mexico, the United States, and Canada have to leave our land. Their time is up, so they are scrambling to hold on. In closing, if African American, black people, especially the older generation, if they cannot get this, they need to step aside and allow the young, fearless warriors to step up and take over once they learn this information. Enough is enough. The house Negro and the field Negro mentality gotta go. Study, study, and keep studying some more. You have to be able to hold your own. Peace and love. Chief Kalinago, an American Aboriginal, standing on the land of my ancestors. All right. So this is the conclusion of the lecture. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it took me 5 days to put that together. And once again, I got to give, credit where credit is due. Chief Nanya, you did a great job and you spoke the truth. And man, I respect it. I respect it because it's only the truth that's going to set us free, brothers and sisters. Only the truth. All right. So that is the conclusion of the lecture, brothers and sisters. Man, I had a great time. I enjoyed doing this for real. I enjoyed doing it. So for those of you, like I said, who want to support the super chat, please feel free. Support, show some love. Okay. This is not easy research, man. Like I said, this is something I didn't have to do, but I just felt it, I just felt obligated to do it for my people. So it was a gift from me to you, so please, feel free to give back. All right. So for those of you who, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to, edit the information because there was some slight errors. Okay. So I'm going to edit it, make sure it's in place. Everything is good. Then I'll, it's on the website, but I'm going to edit it, put it up again, and then put it in the link below. I'm not going to do it tonight. All right. I'm not going to do it tonight because I'm winded. I'm tired. So I'll work on that for you guys tomorrow. And then after tomorrow, that document I was just reading is going to be in the link below. Also, I'm going to put the House resolutions and the joint resolutions talking about the United States being bankrupt and that you could discharge all your debts. I'm going to put that on the website as well. But it's also going to be in the link below. My goal is to give you the tools so that you are able to free yourself, the tools so that you are able to stand, get in your indigenous standing. All right. And when these people are calling you Black and African Americans, you call them out. Okay. You hold them responsible. You hold them liable because you cannot hold them accountable because what's account? Account is a jocular. So they're already doing it to you. They're already sucking your blood. They're already sucking your energy. That's what these people are doing. Okay. But you have to hold them liable. There's a difference. So to summarize everything, know that you are living in a lie. Everything is a lie. There's no government. All right. There's no real constitution. The organic constitution, they got rid of that. There's no money. So stop calling that money. It's not money. Stop calling it money. And brother Tico Ambessa, Ambessa, I got your text, brother. I got your text. And seriously, I gotta respond to you. But like I said, I was putting this together. So man, I was just so busy, man. All right. I was just so busy. All right. So I definitely got you, brother. I'm gonna return your text. And peace and love to my brother Creek Running Water, man. I've been asking the ancestors to bring somebody to me that could speak my language. And the ancestors sent this brother, man, and this brother he's been blissful. And we are gonna do so many great things together for our people. And a lot of times, you say, you question people whether they are genuine or true or whether they have integrity. I could personally, I could personally speak on behalf, you know what I'm saying, of this brother, man. And we're gonna be doing a lot of great work to our, for our people. So what we are doing, like I said, we assisting people in, updating, changing, their getting into their indigenous standing. All right. So my email is in the link below. Hit me up, and we'll go to work with you and for you on your behalf, and we'll teach you. You feel me? And that's what we're gonna do because we want to make sure we teach people how to do it and not just do it for them. All right. We want to make sure we teach you so now you're able to teach someone else. You feel me? So at the end of the day, man, we are in a beautiful place. Don't despair, brothers and sisters. It is our time. Their time is up. Their time is up, and they know they have to leave. As a matter of fact, you know, real talk. Let me see if I could show y'all something real quick before I get out of here. Okay, give me a second. All right. Mm-mm. All right, now check this out. You know, when I tell people, you know, when I talk, I like to show proof of things I'm saying. These people know that their time is up, and also that a lot of people know that there is no United States. It's all a facade. It's all a front. So a lot of people are giving, they're literally, you know, giving up their so-called United States citizenship. So, brothers and sisters, if you're an Aborigine and you want to be if you want to be a citizen of a corporation, that's on you. But go ahead and, like I said, don't believe me. Go look it up yourself. All right, go look it up yourself. 5 most famous people to renounce U.S. citizenship. Right here. More Americans than ever are renouncing U.S. citizenship, and there are a number of celebrities doing the same. But it's not Americans, it's United States citizens, because they realize that they are not Americans. They could never be Americans. Go look at the definition of American, Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary. Okay? Date 9, Manila, Philippines. Thousands of people renounced their United States citizenship last year. In fact, citizenship renunciations reach record levels, but they're not telling you that in the news because they don't want you to know. All right, they don't want you to know that it's a fraud. Okay, and all these so-called wealthy people are giving up this so-called United States citizenship because they realize that they are property, they are slaves. Okay, so like I said, man, I could only give you all the information. All right, now it says, in fact, citizenship renunciations reach a record levels, and the Federal Register, where so-called covered expatriates are listed, doesn't even list the majority of those who renounce U.S. citizenship because they don't want the public to know. While renunciation levels have reached record levels, there have been a number of famous people who have handed in their passport and renounced their citizenship over the years. Here are a few of the most famous celebrities to renounce their U.S. passports. Number 5, Yul Brynner. The famous Russian actor was a dual citizen of Switzerland and the land of the free. Living outside of the U.S. for most of his adult life, Yul Brynner claimed tax-exempt status in the U.S. by working on a short projects that didn't subject him to U.S. tax laws. However, the government eventually caught up with him and threatened to bankrupt him, then with penalties on fees for overstaying. In order to escape, he renounced his citizenship. But here's the thing, okay? We are indigenous, so they cannot send us anywhere, okay? But all those United States citizens, which are foreigners, they realize that, and guess what? They are renouncing their U.S. citizenship, all right? Number 4, Denise Rich. Denise Rich is the ex-wife of billionaire Mark Rich, who received one of the last-minute pardons from Clinton administration. The issue became a source of controversy when it was discovered Rich had made contributions to Clinton related to projects. She renounced U.S. citizenship in 2011 in order to take up Australian citizenship. Her father was a wealthy shoe manufacturer from Australia. Rich gave up her citizenship in London, where she moved in preparation for her renunciation. According to Reuters, the move saved her tens of millions of dollars. Jet Li. Number 3, Jet Li. Lian J, better known by English stage name Jet Li, was born in Beijing but applied for and received U.S. citizenship after extended stints working in the United States. Lee, who was originally thought to be killed by a 2004 tsunami while vacationing in Maldives, escaped unscathed. In 2009, Lee was said to renounce his U.S. citizenship, presumably to take up Singaporean citizenship. After an initial delay, it was confirmed that Jet Li has become a citizen of Singapore, choosing the jurisdiction for its excellent education system for his two young daughters. Singapore does not allow dual citizenship, which means Li's Chinese citizenship would have had to been relinquished. 2. Eduardo Saverin, the protagonist of the hit movie The Social Network. Eduardo is one of the 5 creators of Facebook and was born in Brazil to Brazilian parents. By the time he was 11, Saverin's father had become wealthy, and Eduardo was believed to be a target for kidnapping. In response to fears regarding this, the Saverin family moved to Miami, and Eduardo eventually became a U.S. citizen. In 2009, after settling a bitter legal battle with Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg, Saverin moved to Singapore. 2 years later, he became a Singaporean citizen and required by the citizen state renounce his U.S. citizenship. Number 1, Tina Turner. Tina Turner. After living in Switzerland for 22 years, Tina Turner decided to renounce U.S. citizenship. Switzerland is a rather difficult country to become a naturalized citizen of, requiring 12 years of residency and sometimes even a local democratic process. Earlier this month, an activity report consulate in Bern, Switzerland, indicated that Tina Turner signed a voluntary relinquishment of her U.S. citizenship rather than formally renouncing U.S. citizenship. It has been suggested that she intended to use this process to avoid paying the exit tax on covered expatriates after taking Swiss nationality, move that riled up tax justice-minded Americans. However, Tina will likely be disappointed when she still gets a big tax bill. All right, the choice of renounced U.S. citizenship. So I'm letting y'all know, Mark Zuckerberg also did it. All right, so man, listen, the game is up. These people know the game is up. So they're trying to hold on. So now it is the perfect time for we, the American Aborigines, to step up. All right, so I just want y'all to show you guys that this is real. It is not a game. It's real. And people are actually doing this. You feel me? So if the true Aborigines want to continue to be slaves, then that's on you. That's on you. But you know what? You could never say you didn't know. All right? You could never say you didn't know. So with that being said, man, I'm about to make my exit from this live feed. I hope you guys enjoyed the information. For those of you who don't believe me, man, it doesn't matter to me. Go do your own research. And like I said, prove me right or prove me wrong. It is that simple. But I give you all the facts. So if you want to continue to be in denial, that's on you. But I give you all the facts and I give you all the information. I did my job. All right. So I hope you guys have a great continuation. I don't know when I'll be doing another live video. I may be doing some other uploads, but I don't know when I'll be doing another live video because, like I said, I have so much work to do. A lot of people think this thing is easy. A lot of people think, oh, well, you know what? You could just get up tomorrow and be like, they're going to give you back your land. No. Okay? They have taken our stuff, our land, our identity, our culture, everything for hundreds of years. Do you think it's just going to happen overnight? No. Y'all got to get up your asses and stop being lazy and put in that work. Y'all expect, a lot of people just expect Chief or other people like me just to do everything. And, oh, well, Chief, can you do this? Can you do that? Nah, man, y'all got to put in some work, man. Put in some work. And if y'all want me to do it, then y'all going to have to pay me. I'm not going to do it for free. No, I can't be studying, researching, teaching, and still got to do things I got to do. No, I can't do that. No, I can't. I'm just keeping it real. And like I said, a lot of people are going to get mad at me for me being real. But at the ending of the day, man, when I got to put food on my table, ain't nobody doing it for me. Okay? So I'm just saying, I appreciate all those who support. I appreciate all those who donate. I appreciate all those who could appreciate the hard work that like people like me are doing. Okay, I could only speak for myself. I know what I am doing. Okay, I know what I am doing for the people, on behalf of the people. So I could only speak for myself. You feel me? But we have a lot of work to do. Stop being their slave. Stop being their property. And my sister, stop having your children and giving your children away to the enemy by signing that damn birth certificate. All right? Get into your indigenous standing. Start teaching your own children. Homeschool. A lot of y'all spend more time watching reality shows than teaching your children. It got to stop. It has to stop. Stop being Black and African American. Put these people on the spot. Call them out. Okay? Call them out. Share this video. Make sure Saneter get it. Make sure Pharaoh get it. Make sure Boyce Watkins get it. Any link or post you see with BET videos, put that in the link. Make sure that they know. So now you could hold them liable because they know, and they're intentionally misleading the people if after they find out the truth and they're still doing it. I am choosing my words very, very wisely. I am not calling anybody's name out. I am not defaming anyone's character. Okay? I pointed them out. I'm actually giving them some props. I respect what y'all doing. So here I am teaching you the truth. So now it is up to you to tell the people the truth. So if you're continuing to tell the people false information, then I'll let the people judge you for themselves. All right? Man, and like I tell people, man, you know what? I'm not asking people to pay me for what I'm for this, because nobody could pay me for this. All right? Trust me, nobody could pay me for this. Like, you know, do you know what it means to be up for almost 5 days, getting about an hour, 2 hours rest just to research, study, and then you have to plan. And then, mind you, I went over this thing 3 times and there were still errors. That's why sometimes you have to get people to proofread. All right? And then my brother and I, we working on some other things that's going to take at least 2-3 months to put together. That's how much work we have to do. So y'all cannot pay me for this, okay? Because there's no money. So unless you're going to give me gold, but y'all cannot pay me. So what I'm doing, honestly, I'm doing it from the love. But all I'm just saying is donate and support. Even if there's no such thing as money, we still use the fiat currency as a means of barter and trade. Okay? That's all I'm just saying. I'm not saying pay me because nobody could pay me. Real talk. You cannot pay me for this. Because they don't teach this in universities. Okay? People go take student loans. Student loans to go get brainwashed. But they will not pay you for the information. Not the information, but for the time and support what you're doing. So again, it goes to show you the mindset of the people. All right? But my goal is to make sure that you get the information. You do your due diligence. Okay? Do your due diligence and verify the information. Cross-reference the information. And then you decide if you want to continue to be a slave or not. That's on you. You know, we have an empire, the American continent. And we shouldn't just even limit ourselves to that. We are aborigines of the entire earth. So I'm just saying, why limit ourselves just to the Americas? Because the truth is, we have ancestors from all over this planet. You feel me? So at the ending of the day, why worry about a block? Why worry about a few dollars when we have an entire continent to regain? Brothers and sisters, all they are waiting for is for us to step up. The world is watching us. The world is waiting for us. A brother hit me all the way from Denmark. Okay? He bought my book all the way from Denmark. And the brother said he's a professional soccer player, but he was born in Africa, but he resides in Denmark. The brother said, Chief, I've seen your videos, man. And if there's anything I could do to assist you, let me know. All right? And there's a sister. Damn, I forgot her. What is it? I think it's if I'm not mistaken. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to. And you know what? I gotta give much respect, man, to my sister. You know, Onyx Stummer Rising. You know what I mean? She's always showing love, and I gotta appreciate that. You know, my brother, man. Chief Redbeard. You know what I'm saying? The war chief, man. Thank you, man. It's like Golden Crown Sparrow. You know what I'm saying? It's like just so many people. You know, my brothers and sisters in Florida, man. You know, all over. That's always showing love, and my brother in Jersey, man. It's like, man, you know what? I can't say that I don't feel the love and support. All right, I do. So I'm not complaining. But there's a sister. I just want to give her son a shout out. I don't know her son's name per se, but let me see if I could at least, give her mom and her son a little shout out, because her son is 7 years old, and he watched my video and he's powerful. And I want to bring him as a guest on the show sometime. Yeah, so Sister Keisha, you know what I mean? Sister Keisha, from Detroit. Man, you know what? I just want to give your son, he's 7 years old. I want to give him a shout out. Let him know that, Chief is proud of him. All right. And tell your mom, thank you for the love as well. But particularly, your son is 7 years old, and I just want him to know that I acknowledge him. Let him know that the chief recognizes him. The chief acknowledges him. All right. And the chief is giving him love. 7. And he's already questioning the teachers in school, telling them, no, that's not true. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, man, yo. So I know for sure the work that I put in, okay, it's not going in vain. And I also want to give, shout out to, my sister, you know what I'm saying? The Empress, Sister Zazie in Jamaica right now, doing her thing out there. You know what I'm saying? So, man, listen, we good. We in good spirits, man. You know what I mean? And all right, yeah, man. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna invite him on the show, man. I'd love to talk to that young brother. Let the children, that like his age, let them see that, you know what, man, if he could do this, I could do this too. If he know the truth, I want to know the truth. So this is why I do what I do. It's for our children. That's why I tell people they cannot pay me for this. No, because my gratification will come. It will come from my ancestors. Okay? But I want to make sure that this young warrior right there, 7 years old, I want to make sure, all right, that by the time he get to 15 and 12 and 13 and 18, trust me, he'll be a problem for the beast. I want to make sure, because I'm gonna make sure I mentor him. That's a promise. I promise to you, my sister, I'm gonna mentor that young man. All right, and that's what I do. That's what I do. So I cannot put a price on that. I cannot say, hey, pay me for this. No, nobody can pay me for this, man. How can you equate love to money? That's not even real. Even if it was gold, I still cannot equate my love for my people to gold, and gold was considered money. You feel me? Nah, cannot do that. So I'm gonna continue doing what I do, because I know that, victory is already ours. And everything is already laid out. Everything is already, it's already paved. The way is already paved. And these colonizers already know. They know their time is up. And they're just scrambling right now. All we have to do is just step up. That's it. Step up into our rightful place. Stop being their damn slaves. So correct your political standing, your indigenous standing. So my email is in the link below. Hit me up. Let's put in this work. With that being said, I love you guys, and we'll talk soon. Enjoy the rest of your continuation. All right? Chief Kalanago, I'm out. Peace.